Welcome to Off the Console, the hottest new podcast that's all about gaming, tech news, and anything nerdy. This week we're covering the biggest news, including Nintendo Switch 2 reveal. A lot there, with very little actually being answered, potentially. And then we also have Linus in the news multiple times, multiple reasons, multiple dramas. Maybe, depending on how you think about it or look at it. Then we also have Nintendo attacking hardware developers and some TikTok bans. So some Gen Z people out there might be a little sad. So let's let's get into this. I am joined with me is Gardner and High Tech, and we just hit 200 subs this last week. And in fact, we're like what 250? I don't know. I haven't checked, but we're going pretty good. Like, this is pretty exciting times. If you guys have been with us since almost the beginning, congrats, you're some of the OG. So thanks for being with us.
253 subscribers.
That's
253,
awesome.
so 250, there we go.
And our last episode was like the most popular episode we've ever done too.
Yeah, well, it doesn't help that it was CES, and then I have a feeling it was promoted by some of you guys a little bit.
And also Fan the Deck was there too.
Yeah. That did, yep. Having a good guest always helps.
Mhm.
Okay, so what have you guys been playing or doing this week? Let's start off with High Tech.
Oh, well, as per usual, I've been grinding 100% Bellatra, but I've been revisiting some of my old library, but I also got this new game called S4U City Punk 2011 and Love Punch. It's like this weird esoteric detective, like sort of simulator where you're a detective at a computer. Well, I'm not even sure if you're really a detective, but you're someone that solves problems. And it's not
I
like
always solve problems at a computer.
It's not like IT though. It's like helping people with their social problems and shit like that.
Same. Sometimes I've done that too on my Discord.
It's pretty interesting though. It works on Steam Deck, but it doesn't have controller support.
Is it mouse? Is it more like a mouse?
Yeah, like a keyboard mouse game. Yeah.
Okay. Those are the types of games I really do like on the Steam Deck, actually, if you have to play them on the go. So that's one thing, like, the touchpad does really well.
Yep.
Like that. Yep.
Nice.
So I think I lied earlier in past episodes where I say I don't use the touchpad much. I have used it many times with those types of games. So
Speaking
Gardner,
of,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been playing OpenRA on my Steam Deck, which has been quite fun. Have you guys heard of OpenRA?
No.
Yeah, you've told us about this a few episodes ago, I think.
Yeah.
You might have, and I forgot.
So OpenRA is an open source like engine reimplementation of like classic Command and Conquer and Red Alert and Dune 2000. And so it's super duper fun. And I've been playing on my Steam Deck with the thumb pads. So that's pretty convenient.
Is there an easy install for that?
Oh yeah, it's in FlatHub.
It's in okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it's a flat pack, huh?
Yes. And so it's pretty great. And I think they also have like an app image and stuff that you can get. And then I was also playing I hacked my Xbox 360 and I've been playing some not Xbox Live games with my brother. Marathon is one of them, and it's really, really fun.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, like, if you have you ever done like X-Link Kai or anything like that?
I've looked into it. I haven't done it myself though. No.
So there's something sort of like that allows you to play like local like LAN games over the internet with people, but if you have to have a hacked Xbox to do it, and it's really fun. Like I've been having a blast.
So kind of like what Hamachi used to do back in the day.
I feel like it is Hamachi, but I don't know for sure. I can't remember the name of it because my brother helped me do it. I didn't do it.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah. Hamachi. That sounds so familiar. It's probably that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, from Hamachi. I mean, Hamachi was more or less the same thing, but on PC. Like you would play LAN games over the internet. It's not really required anymore, given that almost every game nowadays just has internet connectivity. whether
Yeah.
it's through centralized servers or through like direct IP stuff.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I remember using that. Yeah, I've used that. Damn.
It's pretty cool. It works really well.
I have a mod chip I still need to install on my Xbox. Original Xbox I got. But I opened it up. I got it off eBay. I opened it up and it's like corrosive, like they smoked a ton and stuff. So I might re-roll and try buying a new one.
Yeah.
Before I start that project. The good old days. Okay. So what I've been playing is Astrobot. And I have to say, because I got it for the family, and I knew that I was going to like it, because I do like platformers. It's been a while. But I have to say, I agree with it being Game of the Year last year. It is amazing, and I highly recommend it to anyone that has a PS5. I'd be shocked if it ever came to PC, just because it's so Sony-centric, so PlayStation-centric. Like, you literally fly on a controller to other planets on a controller. And the controller is, like, the PlayStation controller is so important for the play, because it vibrates really well. You have to blow into it sometimes for some of the puzzles. You have to use it for puzzles. It is amazing game. I am shocked, and it really gives me some hope that we're gonna have some first party and some like AAA titles that are gonna be innovative again. Because if that did really well, hopefully it tells at least Sony to do more of that. And I think they've canceled multiple games. I don't even know if we have that on our list, but they've canceled multiple games that were live action. I think it's between that and also their one game that failed last year. Made it so that they kind of pivoted in their I think rethinking everything. So there's some pretty cool potential games like Days Gone. Days Gone, if you guys have played that, those developers were working on a live action or a live service, and they canceled that game, which means Days Gone 2 maybe. That's pretty exciting for me. And then I've also been working on website changes that will be pretty exciting, honestly. That's what I've been doing.
Nice.
And got a doorbell to answer there, High Tech?
No, it's my that's my phone.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Like
You're a masochist. There's no way I could do a doorbell. Oh, my dog would murder me. Okay, so before we get into this freaking fresh topic, subscribe on YouTube or follow us on any podcasting app or site that you use. Make sure to follow our RSS feed on podcast.subscribe2.me. And you can also engage with us and comment also on the Fediverse at Off the Console Show at podcast.subscribe2.me. So, yeah, all the good stuff. Gardner's got us going on the future of what we're all going to be experiencing once we drop off of X. So, speaking of the future, Nintendo Switch 2 revealed. And I'm really curious what your guys' thoughts are, because the reveal was a day before everyone was predicting. It did answer a lot of questions, but it also didn't confirm any of the questions that everyone had. It just answered them, didn't, to a point where we still have to speculate. So I'm curious what you guys think of this.
I think it looks cool. Except for Donkey Kong. I don't know if did you see Donkey Kong in the Mario Kart gameplay that they showed?
Yeah, he looks kind of like off.
He looks like Donkey Kong did in like 1989.
Oh my god, they're bringing this. Oh no.
Which, here's the thing.
Old school.
I really don't like the rare aesthetic of Donkey Kong. Like, it's weird. But it's like been what Donkey Kong looks like since the 90s, right? And so it's strange that they're going back to it, but now that I've like kind of looked at it a few times and shown my friends, I think that it's actually a better design. Like, he looks weird, but I think that it meshes better with like the rest of the Nintendo character design.
Mario kind of looks like what he did in Mario Wonder.
Yes. Yeah, I think that they're moving towards more of that, like the way that Miyamoto was drawing the characters back in the early days of the Mario Bros. And stuff.
And this could be a creative direction just for this game too. But yeah, that is. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, that's interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
I just saw Mario Kart and I was excited because it's been how long since we've had a Mario Kart? Like since the original release of the Switch?
I think it's been over a decade since Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U, because remember, Mario
Was
Kart...
that the Wii U? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, Mario Kart 8 was a Wii U game, and DX was a enhanced port with more content and also DLC.
Yeah.
That's the thing. They did support it for a long time, though, which is kind of nice. You didn't have to keep on buying, like, because if they were ready to re-released it with just that extra content that they did as a DLC, like, I think it would have been kind of frustrating. I like to see leaps and bounds on my these types of games. If I'm going to pay $60-$70, I'd like to see like a I don't know about a generational leap, but I like to see a pretty big leap.
So this Mario Kart looks like it has more racers at once. It looks like it has 24 racers. So obviously in local play, you're going to be limited to like 4 because, I mean, realistically, that's the best you're going to do in split screen. Unless you want to go crazy and do like 8-player split screen, but that would suck.
Mm.
You guys really dissected this.
Oh yeah, dude. The Mario, sorry, the Mario Kart stuff is what I'm most interested in. I mean, that's it's the only thing, like besides showing off the Joy-Cons being used as a mouse, like it's really the only thing that they revealed. You know what I'm saying?
It's larger too. What screen size do you think this is going to be? Because they extended those controllers by like an inch or two. I was shocked by that. So, what's the screen size of the Switch One?
Is it 7, 6.5, 7, something like that?
I think it's in the 6 range.
Let's look it up. Let's look it up.
Yeah, because that's one of the things I'm excited for is that it looks like it will hold better in my hand, and that's one of my biggest problems with the Switch is that it's a 6.2 inch screen, and the Switch 2 is, if the leaks are, they're saying that it's going to be about an 8-inch screen, so 30% increase in size is what the speculation is. I'm wondering, they must be using, I'm sure that they're using some type of math to get that from looking at the screen, but at the video. But so if it is 8 inches, honestly, that's a huge sell for me, as the Steam Deck I think needs to be an 8 inches also, just my personal opinion. As it's not, I like the 7-inch. Okay. It's just some text is a little small at times.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be nice for me. It's like 8 inches is like the perfect size. And I've mentioned that multiple times already, but it's, if they do 8 inches, even if they do 7 inches, I'll be happy with the Switch. And as long as it holds in my hand better, that's a huge win for me with the Switch too.
Mm-hmm.
And it might actually sell me more.
So I am curious about the mousing thing, because I mean, they didn't really mention anything about it, and it kind of just looks like an animation. But I mean, we all know from the leaks that apparently it's going to have a mousing sensor. Which on the topic of the leaks, I think that the announcement would have been a lot more exciting had there not been like as many leaks as we've seen, because it's been a little crazy with the leaks, to be honest.
Here's my thought on that, because I feel like this trailer didn't announce much, and it feels more like it's a reaction to the leaks than it does 100%. Like a proper Switch 2 announcement.
100%. I think they're pissed. There's a lot of rumors going around that they're pissed, and this is them just dropping it because they're done. Here's where they need to get their PR and their marketing department more involved with this stuff. They need to lean into this thing. This is what makes people excited. You drop leaks. You have these leaks to get people intrigued, and you get the you get social media. This is like, honestly, this is like marketing 101 these days. I don't know why Nintendo's not leaning into this more. They're very controlling of this stuff, but do some leaks, do some excitement around it, do some little hush hush, like it's kind of naughty to to look for this stuff, and people like that. And then you drop a big event, and people get excited. They did. I feel like everything the opposite. It will still sell well, But I think it would have gotten people much more excited if they would have gone a little bit different direction instead of just acting kind of pissed off. Kind of puts a sour taste in my mouth for me, because that's what it seems like.
Mm.
Well, we can't all be Google. I know Google likes to leak their quote unquote leak their new Pixel phones every year. As if like it's a surprise these days.
Yeah, but Google almost has to do that because they're not very relevant. Those phones are like okay, they're good, but they kind of almost have to do that. But some of these bigger companies like Apple and Nintendo need to lean into it more. They can still act kind of mad on the outside, and I think sometimes they like Apple acts more mad than they really are about some of their leaks. But they really should lean into it and make it more fun. Like I really wish marketing would become more fun again. I know some companies are doing it, but like stop being so upset and pissed off all the time. You guys are a $1 billion company. Like it just makes you look bad, in my opinion.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Joy-Con mouse thing because
let's do it. We don't have to listen to me.
I am so interested to see what happens with this. Because as someone who's a game developer, I see this and I go, oh, dude, this could actually be something cool, right? Like you could do actually interesting things with because I don't know if you noticed, but both Joy-Cons have the optical sensor in them, which means
oh my God,
theoretically you could have a game where it's mouse driven for 2 players and you have 2 mouse cursors on the screen and you move them around and you compete with each other for different things. Or here was a thought that I had the other day. What if there's like a mech simulator game where you use both cursors as one player? Something like you could do cool stuff with this.
Yeah.
And I want to see where that goes if third parties start trying new things, and if those third party games get ported to PC, how do you convert that kind of like single player with 2 mouse cursors into something for PC? And I think the answer is Steam Deck with the 2 trackpads or the new Steam 2 controller that's been rumored. Think about that, guys. That's exciting and interesting, and I really would love to see more of that.
Holy shit. Well,
yeah.
I think it's innovative.
It is innovative.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of people were talking about boring stuff. Like, okay, like don't get me wrong, I think mouse input for like an FPS on the Switch would be kind of cool, but that's kind of boring in comparison to what Gardner's proposing.
We've seen that before, right? Like we've seen mouse cursors for first-person shooters on PC. So yeah, I think it is a little bit boring. For a console, it's interesting, and it'll make for a very competitive scene in some games. Especially for crossplay.
It will change things up quite a bit.
Yeah.
And so
it'll make Xbox look even more dated with their controls because they don't even have motion controls right now on Xbox.
Microsoft, I have a one-step plan to solving your Xbox issues. Update the Xbox controller with more functionality.
I don't know. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I'm looking at an Xbox controller right now. This is an Xbox. The Nintendo Switch 2 is an Xbox. So I don't know what you guys are talking about.
God damn it.
So yeah, as an FPS person, FPS is probably one of my favorite genres, along with like RTS and some other stuff. So like this mouse input is awesome. For me, just using it as a regular mouse, if they can get it just right, I want to know how it feels. But it is going to be a win for me on the go, like personally. But I was thinking some of the stuff you were thinking, Gardner. Like, they've done cardboard stuff before. Nintendo has done cardboard-based games where they build stuff and things out of cardboard. They're very innovative with these types of things. So, like a mech game using this would be amazing. Definitely a lot of their mini games, like Wario games. Mario Party would probably be a prime example of this being used. I would be shocked if we didn't, even though that we just got a Mario Party, I would be shocked if we didn't see a new Mario Party or a Mario Party adapt to this cursor. I think this is going to make things a little bit more interesting for the handheld world, which I like to see. It'll be interesting because Legion Go might start, maybe they'll implement something more like this, even though I don't know, there's got to be a patent on this, right? But we'll see.
I don't know.
We'll see, because the way that they do it, Legion Go, is it's on the base of the controller, right? It's on
Yeah.
the bottom part of it. It's not on the inside. And that's another thing I noticed is that the way that you hook up this is seems a little bit more streamlined. I liked it. You'll be interested to see how it's released and how well it's secured in there. That's one of the issues that like both the Switch 1 and Legion Go have is that it always feels a little just not quite snug in there. So yeah.
One thing that just popped into my head about this is you could have like Labo, right? Where because the old Switch controller, was it the left Joy-Con is the one that has like the IR sensor in the bottom? One of them just has one sensor, but like you could totally put this in like a Labo setup and then have dials and knobs or tabs or like whatever that you could pull or push or move, and that would be cool for doing that kind of stuff too, or even like controller setups, like how when you put the Wiimote in the steering wheel to help you drive whatever, you could actually do some interesting stuff with accessories like that. There's so many cool things that I can think of for this kind of input here.
So I am inclined to believe that they will release a new Labo, because towards the end of the trailer, they mentioned that certain Nintendo Switch games will not work as expected or are not fully compatible. And of course, I'm inclined to believe that this is primarily Labo that they're talking about. Like, I couldn't imagine any traditional Nintendo Switch game that wouldn't work on the Switch 2 for whatever reason. I mean, of course, Nintendo's going to give us more information in April the 2nd. I know Europeans got mad because it was 4/2, which normally means February the 4th for some reason. But it's April the 2nd. But anyways, so we'll get more information on that. Labo 2, I'm sure Labo 2 is going to be out, and I'm sure it's going to be a little more complex with more complex functions. Because I mean, that'd be kind of sick, to be honest. I don't think I ever got the original Labo. I should have though, but I haven't.
I didn't get it either.
If they come out with a new Labo for this, I'm for sure going to get it because I have kids. And it's going to be really fun to do that type of stuff. My kids weren't old enough, or if I don't even know if I had kids back at that point. And so I had other things to do. But talking about the compatibility thing, I think a lot of people are concerned about that. I think you guys hit it on like high tech, that it's like Labo or something like that that's not going to be supported. It's a easy catch to say, hey, there's probably a few games that had maybe compatibility reasons or something like that, like hardware based, that is not performance based. That is going to be the limitations here. So I would be shocked if not 99% of the games played fine on this, because the architecture is the same, like for the most part, right? It's an NVIDIA architecture. I don't know how different NVIDIA is going with this one, if they're sticking with their same architecture, but there's a good chance that the backwards compatibility would be pretty easy for them.
Yeah, I'd imagine that would be like top priority when they were designing the silicon, is to have compatibility out of the box. Like, I think the physical dimensions are going to be the limitation, but the other thing that I was thinking it could be is like, just maybe Nintendo's kind of hedging their bets because they know that there were a bunch of games distributed physically that you have to download anyway. And those could go offline at some point or whatever, and they were just kind of wanting to say, hey, maybe not. But yeah.
Oh, like the limited re-releases of like the Super Mario Bros. 3D All-Stars game that they released.
Yeah, well, wasn't there one like a Kingdom Hearts game or something that you had to download?
Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem, yeah. So even if you had the cartridge, the game wasn't on the cartridge; it was just a key, or part of the game was on the cartridge.
No, you're right. It's Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
Fire Emblem's like a different like situation. So Kingdom Hearts, all of the games are like cloud based, which is incredibly stupid in my opinion. Because I mean, okay, I might understand it for Kingdom Hearts 3. But like Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 are
PlayStation 2
games, yeah.
So silly.
Yeah, if I'm gonna be able to put cartridges in, give me every game on cartridge, because I've bought games that have like collections, and they'll give me like the Resident Evil one. They'll give you one of the games, and then the other game's a digital download. And it's really frustrating because we have multiple Switches in our house, and so to share these types of things is just much harder.
Yes.
That really pisses me off. If you're going to do cartridges, do it this way. Either go all digital or go at least be able to get everything on a cartridge. Don't do this in between.
So I am curious about their family sharing features. Because I don't have Nintendo Online because I don't want to pay $20 for something I'm never going to use.
Yeah.
But like, how are their family sharing like features? Like, if you're in a family unit, can you like family share digital games?
I think you can I think it works similar to Steam, where if your account is on the device, you can share the digital games between them as long as that account has also installed the game. I think that's about the limitation of it. But the problem is that then you have to make sure it's installed. It's just a whole kind of headache. Beyond that, though, I don't know. It's been years since I've set it up, honestly, because the Steam Deck, I have not touched the Switch much. Maybe to play. In fact, I need to beat like one of the Mario games that I really enjoy. I haven't beat it yet, and that's it. Like, I play Nintendo Switch for first party.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the only reason I ever boot up my Switch is to play Mario Party. Because, like, Mario Party is the one game that really would not work well in an emulator.
The one game that I've beat in the last, like, 5 years, like, to completion, was Metroid Dread. And, like, other than that, I don't know. That's the thing is, like, I always feel compelled to beat Nintendo games. Like, I actually... Did I beat Mario Odyssey? I might have. I don't know. I think I did. But
I didn't. That's the one I need to beat.
Yeah. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I'm probably not going to buy this thing like firsthand. Like, I'm not going to give Nintendo my money, but I will give somebody who already bought one my money in exchange for the Switch. Switch 2.
Man, so you know what Nintendo
Playing
really
the game.
needs? Nintendo needs a launch Legend of Zelda game because so remember, the Switch 1 came out, and guess what? One of the launch games was Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
All right, what let's do some betting here. What are going to be the launch titles? Is it going to be like is it not Breath of the Wild, the second one? Tears of the Kingdom. Is it going to be like a Tears of the Kingdom 4K remake?
Yeah. It's not going to be a remake. It's going to probably be that.
Are they going to do like an upgrade? Like kind of what 30 does?
30 FPS patch?
Well, they just came out with a Legend of Zelda game, and so I would be shocked if they came out with a new one. That was in the realm of what, because they'll sometimes do 2D, sometimes they'll do full 3D. I'd be shocked if they did a full 3D, like, full release, like, new game, because they just did one. Like, you're gonna, when you release stuff too much to an IP, like with Call of Duty, that's multiplayer, so that has some aspects to it that make sense. But for single player, you're gonna exhaust both your creativity for the IP, and then also the like demand for it. You got to wait more than like, what has it been, like a year and a half since they released the last Legend of Zelda? So I don't know.
So let's remember what Nintendo's big IP are. Let's see, we have Mario, Mario Kart, Mario Party, The Legend of Zelda, Pokemon.
I can give you a list of rumored
Metroid.
titles.
Okay. I don't believe Metroid Prime 4 is going to be a launch title.
No.
Not at this point.
I think that it's going to be like Odyssey 2. Like, they've been so quiet. Or one. No, I don't. I think Wonder's too new. I think they need more time to cook on a new Wonder sequel. I think Odyssey would be where it's at.
Odyssey, 100%. I think that would be a really good one, and it's been a long time since they've released something quite like that. But they do release a lot of Mario games, but they're easy because they do a lot of twists every time. I think it's going to be some type of Mario game that's either going to be Mario Odyssey or a full multiplayer like co-op like they've done. I think it's going to be one of those two.
Mario Galaxy.
I was just thinking. Yeah, I was just thinking Mario Galaxy 3. I would play the hell out of Mario Galaxy 3, dude.
I think that's a good call out too. I think that's a good one. Do you think Red Dead Redemption 2 is going to be coming on launch? Because I heard that there's going to be releasing Red Dead Redemption on the Switch, but
I don't know about launch, but like I could see it happening.
why not? Why? I don't think Nintendo's going to stop them, and it's be easy to port it over enough if they've been working on it for the past year. Because I've heard the rumors of Red Dead Redemption 2 coming to Switch for a while now. It makes sense that those rumors turned into Switch 2 and it was actually not Switch 1. Because it's not on Switch 1, right? Like, that would be
Red
very
Dead Redemption 1 was on Switch 1, though.
That's right. So, yeah, I could easily see, like, both of them coming to Switch 2. Or at least Red Dead Redemption 2. And that'd be an easy one to get. Because the problem, I think, with a lot of consoles these days is that they're not launching with enough good titles. Third party or first, it doesn't matter to me. You just need to give me a reason to buy the console on day one instead of just hype and demand. Like Sony, I feel like kind of caused almost an artificial demand. And then I got my PS5 and I was kind of disappointed by like what I had options to. Like it was not great. And only up until this point where I'm starting to get some good titles. And so I'm hoping Switch does release at least 2 or 3 really good first party titles, because I think their last launch, like the Switch 1 launch, was not really strong with titles.
Yeah, but Breath of the Wild carried the entire console. There were more copies of Breath of the Wild on Switch sold than actual Switches. And also, you know, scalpers.
Yeah, I don't. Here's the thing. I have Breath of the Wild and I have the newer one. I don't beat them. I play them until I get lost or get I drop it, and then when I try to get back into it, it's really hard. It's weird. It's a weird game. It's a fun game. It's a really fun game. It's just not my type. Like Legend of Zelda has never been my genre. The only one, like if they did a Wind Waker 2, that's the Legend of Zelda for me. So if they did that would make me super excited.
Like a traditional 3D Zelda? And not like an open world one?
I mean, Wind Waker's open world. Open sea, I should say. The best pirate game out there.
It's really good. I love that game.
I really like it.
So third parties, you say. I wonder... I think we're going to see a litany of indie developers trying to port their game to Switch 2 ASAP, because I mean, like, let's look at Celeste. Celeste is a really good game, but it also came out fairly early in the Switch's life cycle, back when there weren't that many indie games. Do you think Celeste would have been nearly as successful if it released, like, I don't know, like a year or two later on the Switch?
Probably. Maybe. Probably. It's really hard to say when it comes to those types of games. Timing can be everything or nothing. It also depends on marketing campaigns or like, and even if you don't have like a lot of money, you can do guerrilla style marketing where it's just more try to give it to creators and stuff like that, content creators or streamers and stuff. But yeah, don't know. Don't know, but man. Like to just go back to the hardware a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
The color scheme has changed, which I actually both like and dislike. I hope that they come out with more controllers. I'm sure they will. I'm sure what they'll do is they're going to be doing a lot more bundles in the future because they'll sell well. But like they went with a very muted color scheme in the sense of, or very accented, I should say, where it's all black and then it has just a few color parts to it, right? I am also curious about the thumbstick guard on it. What, I don't know if I've seen anything like that on a. Is that a guard? Is that what I'm seeing? Is like a rubber guard on there on that controller?
It looks like it,
maybe,
because if you look at like one of the close-up shots of the Joy-Con, it shows the Joy-Con moving around underneath it. So they call it a gate, I think, on like the N64 and the GameCube controller, where it's like hexagonal. That exists on other controllers. Like it's got that kind of like bump on this controller there.
Yeah,
and I think they're just like coloring the gate there.
They're
it's
just
not
coloring
really,
it. It's
yeah.
not rubber or anything. It looks rubber.
I mean, it might be a different material. We don't know. And we
If
won't.
it's that has wear down potential. Rubber does. They'd have to
And
be
rubber
using
would cause a lot of friction if you're moving it along the edge too, I think.
Yeah,
So
like
I think
you wouldn't be able to rotate it as fast with rubber.
Right.
But we do know a guy that was at CES that might have gotten a hold of the Genki prototype that they somehow got a hold of. And his name is Retro Game Core. Maybe we should ask him.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of that, like the hardware is very like the Switch 2 hardware is very honestly, I was expecting a little bit more like fanciness. It actually went back a little bit on the fanciness, like from visuals, but the bezel is actually they shrank the bezel quite a bit. If you look at the comparison between the original and the new one, which I really like that it's a smaller bezel, like screen to edge. But the designs have been leaked multiple times, and one of the companies was at CES, right? That leaked it. Genki, right, is what you're talking about, high tech, and that is interesting that they were able to get to CES, get there, and then sell. This was is this for a model? Actually, I'm not fully sure what the Genki device is. Actually, can you kind of go over it?
It was just a couple. There were just accessories for the Switch too, but they had a model of the Switch 2. Like they had one on the show floor, and Nintendo of course naturally got pissed off and apparently sent lawyers to their booth at CES.
It doesn't look good. I would have handled it quietly, probably. It makes you look like you're the mafia.
Yeah.
Which we've talked about multiple times, that they are like a modern day mafia in a lot of ways, where nowadays you bully and you intimidate through lawyers and through legality, not through physical, because you can get a lot more done.
That said, looking at the Genki like model that they had, it doesn't look anything like the model we have now. I mean, I guess the shape is, but like the entire their prototype is white, and also it doesn't have the red and blue accents around the thumbsticks like you have on the what looks like the final model.
Yeah, that's fine. They're not going to color it, obviously, but the dimensions look like they're about correct, right? Placements.
I would say so. Yeah,
parts of it are.
I mean,
correct,
it's not a functional prototype or anything. They didn't like.
It looks 3D printed to me.
Yeah, it's probably like a 3D printed model or something.
Yeah, that's the thing. It looks, and I swear there were leaks before even this were 3D, that people were 3D printing. So this might even be from that.
So it looks like it's 11 and 6/8 or something like that inches, or I'm sorry, 10 and
it's 10 and
10 and something. I'm really bad at imperial units, but it's 10. It's almost 10 and a half inches wide, and then it's
about
4.5 inches tall and less than an inch thick. So. It looks pretty decent in terms of size here.
Dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be, honestly, if you like the Switch 1 and you wanted it just to be a little bit bigger, the Switch 2 is gonna be your new best friend. If you wanted the screen to be bigger, great. It's gonna be less portable, which is an interesting kind of route to go, right? But that is really interesting, because that's one of the huge things with the Switch, the original Switches, is very portable. I could probably put it in my bag that's over here in my sling bag, and they kind of giving a little bit of that up. But I think what we're gaining is pretty good.
Oh yeah, everyone's making Switch 2 accessories like ahead of time, like JSOX is, and heck, even TomTalk is. Y'all have TomTalk bags?
Yeah,
I don't.
Oh
man, I love them.
I have a couple of videos because I love that TomTalk. I have it around here.
I just like did a little bit of math, and the Steam Deck is only like 0.1 inches taller than this, and it's only like a third of an inch wider. I mean,
Damn.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at
so
all.
this is huge compared to the original Switch.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. The Steam Deck is 11.7 inches, and this is like 10 point,
Yeah.
like 5.5 or something. So
Mhm.
it's like just over an inch wider. The Steam Deck is.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
They have a lot more controls, and then this is an 8-inch screen. So
Yeah.
they put an 8-inch screen on this. The control portion, the handles are much smaller than the Steam Deck, but it's still crazy that it's able to be 8 inches and smaller than the Steam Deck
Mm-hmm.
with loss of controls. But
It also like has to accommodate the connectivity with the Joy-Cons too, which is like not a trivial thing to engineer into something that's small.
Yeah.
it's true. It's true. Like I'm still okay. Here's the thing we haven't covered. Even though we, as much fun it is to talk about like the lawyers and all that, like that's honestly like pretty expected of them at CES to just do crap like that.
Yeah.
But Switch 2, the name.
Oh yeah, high tech. You were all about.
Oh my god.
Super Switch.
You were correct, high tech. Yeah. Weren't you all about it being Switch 2?
No, I was quite the opposite actually.
He was
What
super
was it?
Switch.
Gardner's the one that was Switch 2.
I wanted it to be
Rich from Fan the Deck.
Oh my
gosh, I wanted it to be the Switch U is what I wanted it to be.
Someone said the Ultra Switch, and I thought
Rich said Ultra Switch.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Which Switch 2 is boring. It's so boring. Like
it's safe.
It's safe.
It's safe, but Nintendo saw what happened with their Wii U, and they didn't want a repeat of that situation.
Yeah, well, I think they're scared. They're scared of because they have been riding the Switch train for so long, and it's been so incredibly profitable for them because, they can probably, I don't know what their manufacturing costs are, but they're probably extremely low for the Switch right now. And it's what it might have, we might see the Switch surpass the PlayStation 2 in terms of console sales. I think I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's true.
I think it will.
Yeah, but they also Nintendo cannot afford to have the Switch 2 be a flop like the Wii U was, right? And they've kind of had that kind of on-off thing for a couple generations now. So I don't know. Playing it safe, it makes sense for their shareholders, but for their legacy, I don't know if playing it safe is the right move.
I agree with that, but people might not have known this or might not remember, but the Wii U almost tanked the company. They almost went under, full on. They almost went under. And had the company that's been going for over 100 years,
and had the Switch failed, then they would have either tanked or become what Sega is, a third-party developer.
I've seen, so I did a video, my Steam Deck news video, and I included the Switch 2 news in there. And I saw several comments that said basically they want the Switch 2 to fail so that they just make their game for PC.
That'd be so funny.
I would be there for that. I would actually really like that, but
they want them to fail. That's bull. I don't know what delusional world you live in on that one, but that's my opinion.
No, I don't want them to fail. I just want them to put their games on PC.
Not you with the delusion. I think they're so controlling of the IPs. They would already be doing they don't need the Switch 2 to fail. I'm talking about the commenter, by the way. They don't need the Switch 2 to fail in order to put PC their games on the PC. They don't want it to. They like having the control because then that's always been Nintendo, and they're kind of been the Apple of the gaming world. They like that control. That's why they use lawyers a ton. They want as much control as they can over the ecosystem. It does lend well to some pretty interesting games, but with the Switch 2, it's a safe bet. And I honestly, at the end of the day, it's going to be fine. People are going to understand that it's the next one. I'm kind of curious if people are going to be excited enough to get a Switch 2. especially since if they don't backdate any games that come out now, if all the games they really come out with now are just Switch 2 games that cannot be played on Switch 1, that could force some people to upgrade. But it's definitely, I don't know if people, I don't know if it's going to be as fast of an upgrade as because people just have the Switch 1. I don't, it will be interesting.
Like a lot of people bought, like not a whole lot of people bought the Wii U, so I'm sure that wasn't a much easier sell. But you know, going from a mega hit like the Switch to something like the Switch 2 may not necessarily be as easy, because I mean, like, I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of developers still developing games for the Switch 1 that are just forwards compatible with the Switch 2, like kind of what's going on with like Xbox and PlayStation right now. We still see a ton of PS4 and Xbox One releases that you know, that just so happen to work on the new generation.
That's a good point, actually. I really like that. So they played it safe. So PlayStation and Xbox played it safe, and I think it's hurt them technically. They didn't go kind of a little bit different or crazy. PlayStation 5 did, actually. Like, be really honest. Like, these controllers are very cool. Like, very cool. You gotta try it out, guys. Like Gardner High Tech, you gotta try out Astrobot with it, because it is very, very unique controller experience. But they're playing it safe. The hardware is very similar. It's just an incremental almost thing, except for Xbox doesn't know how to, you know, do an incremental name change. Then they made it even more confusing, which probably really did not help the sales of Xbox. But will the safe bet actually turn out? Like, is it going to be like the Wii U? Was the Wii U because the hardware was so weird and different, or was it because it was just a Wii? It was a Wii that was just extra fancy, and people didn't understand the marketing behind that. Are people going to see the Switch 2 and like, well, is this any different? Am I going to buy this? Like, is the average person going to buy this?
Yeah, it's just a perfect storm of like fuck ups for the Wii U. Like, we had the name. No one knew that the Wii U was actually, like, I thought, like, when I first like saw it, I thought maybe it was just like a new controller for the Wii. Like,
that's what a lot of people thought.
Like, I thought that. Yeah. I thought that too.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't. It was a console of its own. And also, like, it was a third-party system. Sorry. There weren't that many third-party games on there, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah. Like, there's some really good Nintendo games on there, and also Breath of the Wild.
If you go back to like the Nintendo, right, the NES, they were number one. Like, and then the Genesis ate their lunch, right, in the next generation, and then was it PlayStation was like the PlayStation 2 was the best-selling console of all time, and then Xbox, like the 360, just like come in and clobbered them. It's really hard for and the Wii, it happened with the Wii and the Wii U, right? So like it's really hard for the established console to maintain their momentum going into the next generation.
I don't know if I'd say Sega clobbered Nintendo, because I mean the Super Nintendo didn't sell as well as the NES, and the Genesis outsold it in North America anyway. Really? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna Google that, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case. But that's for the Xbox 360. I'm pretty sure the Wii outsold that in North America, at least.
Yeah, it definitely did.
No, the Wii did really well. The GameCube did not do that well, even though it had some amazing games.
Yeah,
PS2 kind of took it on. So yeah, the battle is very different nowadays, though. Like I'm shocked how different it is nowadays.
And what is interesting is that Xbox is making their own handheld, if you recall. So that's going to be Switch 2 versus Xbox handheld. It's going to be kind of crazy.
And Steam Deck.
And Steam Deck, yes. Yeah.
I was wrong. I'm sorry. The SNES sold 20 million more units
than the Genesis.
Than the Genesis. Yeah. I don't know where I got my information from.
That's fine. I thought Sega did pretty well, but
I mean, yeah, Sega did do pretty well.
They sold the Genesis sold 29 million, and then the SNES sold 49 million.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it wasn't nearly as much of a blowout as, say, the PS5 versus Xbox Series X. I'd say they were still pretty competitive back in the day. You know, Genesis does what Nintendo don't. I don't know, man. It's an interesting time. Switch 2.
I love this time line right now, at least with gaming and hardware. Even though this is a little bit like plain in the Switch 2, I'm really excited for like the hardware changes. So, they attracted me to probably buy one this year as long as I can get it. But I really, I just don't know if it's going to attract the average person, or if they're going to see this and just be like, well, it looks like the Switch. It's just another Switch, and they're just not going to get it. Or they'll accidentally get the Switch 1, like parents for their kids, and not get this if they're both on shelves and the cheaper price.
Yeah, so, I think like having the OLED Switch available and then having it at its current price point versus having the Switch 2 on the shelf is going to be like, well, what's the difference? You know, like,
well, the Switch 2 is not even going to be OLED, right? And so
we don't know that.
Okay, that's the rumors, like the strong rumors on this, which we'll see. They're rumors.
I'd be kind of pissed if I had a Switch OLED and then the Switch 2 didn't have OLED. Honestly, I'd be kind of pissed off too if the Steam Deck 2 didn't launch with an OLED model of some sort.
So they could be playing the money game. They'll have a Switch 2 OLED in 2-3 years, which is really stupid. Everything needs to start going to OLED. But here's the thing, guys. Like, if you get a really good LED or LCD panel, like they can look really good still. Quality of the panel and some other portions are, for me, more important than slapping OLED on there, because I've had some pretty bad OLED panels. Like on the Ioneo Air's OLED panel was garbage. It was so bad, and people loved it. But I'm like, you guys really like your eyes to be bleeding, man. So I'm okay with this as long as it looks fine. The 8-inch screen is what I really like, but what I don't like is what well, actually I don't know. I'm a little split on this one, but TikTok is being banned. And well, it's imminent, like meaning it's coming in. Like, isn't it this week, guys? Like,
it's tomorrow.
By the time the episode goes up, it's going to be banned unless something crazy changes.
Unless Mark Zuckerberg picks it up, because from my understanding, he's putting a bid in for it. So
I heard that they're also considering selling it to Elon Musk.
Both.
Yeah. I hope that Elon can do for TikTok what he did for Twitter.
Well, rename it to X and then
I was gonna say, does he have like y.com or something? Like,
oh, he's been sitting on x.com since like the PayPal days.
He's already using it for Twitter though. Like, is he going to combine them? He'd be losing a lot of a lot of stuff. He'd want to run those as independent products, but he
wants it to be X the everything app.
Yeah, he's gonna call it X videos.
X, dude. Dude, stupid.
Don't search that, guys. Anyone that's listening, don't search that unless you're looking for a very specific fun time, I guess.
Oh my god.
There's a lot of that on X2.
X2.com. I'll be honestly, I don't think Elon has the leverage to buy it. Honestly, he's the richest person in the world, but a lot of that stuff's tied up, and he's already over leveraged on X, like quite a bit. I would be shocked. Mark Zuckerberg, though, would probably really, really try to get TikTok, because that's in his realm of just
data collection and exploitation of its users.
Yeah, honestly, the only thing I like from Facebook these days for Meta is React, and I use that for programming. That's it's actually what Steam, the Steam client is built in. Your UI is built in React, and I think backend's PHP, but at least partially.
Yeah.
So not to get too like programming nerdy, but
why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, we should put in a trust fund. We buy TikTok and we turn it into
open source it.
We open source. Well, I think the source code's been leaked before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I downloaded the source code.
Nice.
Oh my gosh. Who's that knocking on your door?
Uh-oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
Doorbell.
Your personal NSA agent. So Nice. So here's the thing with a lot of these, like TikTok and all that. If given enough time, reproducing TikTok's not hard, actually. Like weirdly enough, like it's the name brand, it's the getting people to get the app and getting like good momentum. That's the benefit. Like for like, let's say Mark Zuckerberg, if he got TikTok, like that would really help them. Because I think they kind of plateaued on their growth, but we'll see. Like they might see a little bit better growth because I don't know. I think they're going to plateau because they've pretty much lost me. I'm about ready to delete everything that is, because they had Instagram, they have Facebook, and then what is it? Threads. Yeah. Threads, which honestly, Threads isn't even that great. Like
no, Threads sucks.
Blue Sky is drastically better.
Yeah.
And Mastodon. So like they're about to lose me completely. Like I don't like touching meta stuff these days.
That's why. Oh yeah. By the way, this isn't a topic, but have you heard about Meta's AI generated profiles on Instagram? So it's one thing if it's like a bot service, like it's like, I don't know, like maybe they post pictures of cats daily because like it's a bot. But no, these are AI profiles that pretend to be real people. Like for example, we have this one here, Liv, proud black queer mama of 2 and truth teller, your realest source of life's ups and downs. Let's chat, available in the US. Like, okay, you cannot have an AI pretend to be black, queer, or a mom of 2.
When does it become AI blackface? Like,
right?
It might already be AI blackface.
That is, unless I guess the person that wrote the bot is black, but at the same time, it's very, no matter what, it's very icky.
It's a very icky situation. Yes.
To me, what that says is that they're so desperate for attention, like for engagement, that they're creating these things so that they can like continue to make money from ads. Because like I suspect like they just don't have enough content to feed to like seed in people's feeds to keep new ads rolling in,
I don't know. I get tons of stuff. I'm on Instagram partially because my wife Susie is on Instagram and sends me tons of stuff, so I have to go through it every once in a while, and then I kind of just get stuck in it. It's fun. It's a fun little way to blow off some steam, but I could sit there and scroll all day and probably have content. So
really,
but very engaging content. I agree. Like they're they're really going for something, I think, with these AI bots and some generated content and like massaging the algorithm. Like at the end of the day, these algorithms are not our friends, and I think people need to start realizing that. Like they might be nice and all, and they do the job well, but they pretty much waste your life if you cannot get away from them. Like it's not bad to do this stuff a little bit, but if you're on there 3 or 4 hours a day, I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, I'm actually like one of the things I do locally is I like go around to local libraries and schools and stuff and give talks about different things. And one of the new talks that I'm working on is escaping the algorithm. And like, so that'll be fun when I have that done and ready. I'm going to start posting my talks online at some point here too.
Do any of those kids take you seriously?
It depends on the school and how my talk has been framed, but a lot of the time kids will take me seriously, but sometimes there's some rowdiness, so
that's to be expected, man. Kids are kind of crazy.
Yeah, you really have to kind of engage with kids too. Like you have to make it relevant to them, because if you just say these technocrats are coming after your data, that doesn't mean anything to them. But if you're like, you think Snapchat is only between you and your friends? No, it's not.
Whoa.
When you send that spicy pic, man, it's getting leaked potentially.
Yeah. I mean, shit, man. Speaking of which, do you only work with high schoolers or like middle schoolers, or?
Yeah, I try to stick to high school. And a lot of it is libraries right now. Like, I haven't done a school in a while. Like, it's mostly libraries with a mix, so usually high schoolers and up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you giving back to the community. That's awesome. That really is really cool.
I highly recommend you guys do this. If you're an expert in any field, go to your library and tell them what you do and propose like a workshop or a seminar or something. It's so much fun. I absolutely love doing it.
What if I'm not an expert in anything?
Are you not an expert in your day job?
You're a programmer.
15 years, but I don't know if I tell anyone to become a programmer.
Well, you know what's another great thing is like if you know video editing, you can go teach a video editing class. If you like I have workshops. If you go to my website, you can actually see the workshops and the speeches that I have available. And the workshop that gets a lot of attention is video editing, especially when the library frames it as like video editing for YouTube or TikTok, right? Or the other one is game development. And if you do like an intro to Godot, it's huge. There's tons of interest.
I might start something back up. I've done meetups. So I've run meetups in smaller towns before where I ran it for like 2 years. It was very rewarding. I had a lot of people coming from different, like, I think some even high schoolers would come, a bunch of different people. I also promoted it through Facebook ads and stuff like that. Didn't require anything. I'd provide food. It was fun. It was really fun. We'd have presentations it was a programming one. But it was very rewarding. It was also very time consuming. And I just haven't picked it back up. In fact, I almost started another one and then COVID hit and then I kind of just got onto the YouTube stuff. And so if I have any free time, I usually do YouTube or my personal projects. So I definitely would like to get back into it. I think that's a really good thing. And I think you called it out right. Like you got to frame the stuff that matters for the generations. And high schoolers are notorious for they kind of push against oftentimes the societal norms. And that's just a very common thing in how you interact with the world and learn. And so
Elon Musk is looking at your spicy pictures, as is Mark Zuckerberg.
I'm kind of, I don't even know what they think about those people. I don't even know if they care that much. Some of them do, but I'm curious how much they care about the TikTok ban, though. Because it definitely seems some people like say it's the worst thing to happen to us or something like that. And it's like, there's a lot on that plate.
There's a lot of positive sentiment towards TikTok in like Gen Alpha. I have found.
So I am curious if President Trump were to save TikTok, do you think Gen Alpha would like change their tune entirely on Donald Trump?
Dude, you would be so surprised how Gen Alpha feels about Trump. Like it's like otherworldly to me. I don't understand it. Like
otherworldly, like they like it, or otherworldly, like they hate him.
It's like split along gender lines in a weird way. And like many of the young like people that I've engaged with, like the guys are like, yeah, I love Trump, and the women are like, I hate Trump. And so it's crazy, dude. I just don't understand.
It's
I don't
manosphere. It's at the end of the day, it's the manosphere, and we're getting into like a very interesting topic. But the manosphere is a big problem, in my opinion. I'm going to slap that, my opinion. And TikTok is a big driver of it, and partially it's because what they do is they give you little snippets of what you want to hear, but never really truly how to actually attain that. Like a lot of grifters will say, yeah, if you want to be a rich person, that's what you got to do, and most people are not going to get there. Partially because it's just numbers wise, that's not how it works. And so my problem with TikTok partially is that it's really good at delivering sensational information, but never really good at flushing it out so that people are fully informed on a lot of subjects. And so it's a little bit of a cancer in society, but at the same time, I don't think getting rid of it is the right way to go. I think just we need better education and better understanding.
Yeah, well, so here's the thing. Like, video is the most impactful way to engage with someone, right?
Right.
And like, people like read newspapers, but they react to video, right? Like, if you deliver the news through like the nightly news on TV or whatever, it's so much more it just has an emotional appeal that other things don't. And this is going to sound elitist, and I'm sorry for that, but like I don't think that the tool like TikTok or YouTube Shorts or even like smartphone video editing software should exist, because it lets lies spread so quickly. And like I like the saying like lies will spread, you know, to 100,000 people before the truth gets its pants on, right? Like it's just I don't know. I just and the fact that it's like so like the videos are just so short, and you don't actually get to choose what you watch next. You just swipe through. Like everything about it is just so cancerous. I think that's the right word. I think that it's justly, and not even like talking about the fact that the Chinese government owns it, right? It's just the fact that it's like it's so easily manipulated, and the content in it is so incredibly just vacant that it just doesn't. I just don't think it should exist.
Some of the content's it can be very interesting. Like my content I've put up there, which there's not a lot of it, but but mine's more news oriented, where it's kind of just fun snippets. But yeah, that's the problem. Like, and if anyone wants to like pretty much attack what you're saying, go take some of the stuff you watch and then go and actually do full research from both sides on that topic, and I think you'd be shocked. So there's easy ways to confirm all those guys. So if anyone wants to fight against that sentiment, really easy, guys. You just got to put that TikTok down. You got to pick up a web browser, and you could go find what the truth is, and it's not. And people have confirmation bias. They want to be soothed, and especially since I think a lot of people are having issues with buying homes and everything else. There's a lot of issues going on in the world today, and there always is, but like a lot right now. And this is a way for them to escape. There's a lot of escapism going on, and I think that's a big part of it. It's easy to escape into something that you don't have to do much, and then get a confirmation bias. It's like, yeah, your plight is bad. You don't need to do this, and this, and then just confirm to what you want to, and instead of actually changing your worldviews and stuff like that as you learn new information. And I think, and the thing is, like with the TikTok ban, China is the reason why the government's banning it, not because it's detrimental, even though there are some states that do want to do like age limits and stuff like this on these on social. Like they're like here in Utah where I'm at, like I think they're implementing age limits and verifications on certain social medias, which I think is a good thing, and tends to be bipartisan, meaning it's very both sides. Kind of like this, depending on how old the person is. But the China thing is really funny because it did the exact opposite of what doing bans always do, right? It pushed them into like more China controlled applications, or like China oriented, like with Red Note and some other ones. Like, isn't Red Note where you almost like you have to like agree to a certain, is it Red Note or another one that you have to agree to like some almost communist like agreement?
I believe both of these are Red Note and Xiaohongshu are both the same app. It's just called Red Note.
Are they?
Yeah, they are the same app. Yes.
Oh.
But the entire app is still in Mandarin, and the people are still flocking over there. And Duolingo reported a spike in U.S. users learning Chinese if they use the app, which is kind of insane. But I mean, it's good. It's great because learning languages is a lot better, and also helps with just understanding people better in general.
Yeah, but we got to learn English first before we learn another language.
Yeah,
our like illiteracy rate is so high.
That's like a them problem, I'm afraid. It's not something I can relate to. But speaking of which, Elon. Remember how Elon wants to buy TikTok? Can you really trust Elon since he's betrayed the gamers?
Dude, he has betrayed every group he's been a part of for a very long time. So
yeah,
this is icing on the cake.
So
do you want to?
Yeah, so I'll take over this. So Elon Musk quote unquote plays Path of Exile 2 and quote unquote has a level 97 character. So a hardcore character too, I might add too. So Path of Exile 2 is not a game you can play for like a few hours a day. Like you got to be playing like you basically have to play like all day. It's a full-time job more or less to like even reach level 97. And the level, like the EXP curve exponentially grows. And so the difference between level 99 to 100 is greater than the difference between level 1 to level 99. That's how insane the curve is. And so Elon Musk recently streamed on X, showing off his character and showing off that he apparently doesn't understand certain gear. Like I don't get Path of Exile, but like he sees like a level 50 something gears. Oh, it's only level 50 something, but it's a super rare drop that only drops at that level and is apparently super duper good. And he just doesn't understand it for some reason. And many people have called him out, including a certain person called Asmongold, who has called him out on it. And as such, they got into a spat. Elon Musk leaked his DMs with him. And Elon Musk seems to think that, you know, video editors are the same as like editors in journalism.
My understanding was like Elon was when he was on stream, he walked past like literally the most valuable piece of like currency that you can get in the game. And like even like higher level players only have like one or two of those objects, and he just walked by it like it was nothing at all.
I don't know what you're talking about. He's so rich, he doesn't need that. Like he sees it like it's been below me. Like it's the opposite.
So first and foremost, you shouldn't be boosting accounts because A, that's kind of against terms of service of most games. I'm pretty sure it'll probably be against terms of service in Path of Exile 2. I'm pretty sure, but of course we don't know if they'll ban him.
So what's the problem with boosting accounts? Like, does it happen that much?
It happens in every single MMO that exists.
That's why I thought. That's why I'm.
So the problem though is that you're not really playing the game, and it also goes against a lot of like account sharing in terms of like issues because like if you're paying someone to like boost your account, but then they kind of just steal your account, then like it's on you, right?
Here's my thing. Name and shame. Let them boost it, but they get a booster badge or something like that, like a little wimpy baby or something attached to them. I don't know. That's my opinion. I let them do it.
If you find out someone's like boosting, you do a ball and chain on their character.
Do something to where like, because honestly, it is a little shameful in some ways. Like some people don't have as much time, and they have much more money to unlock certain characters. Like I think this works well in, let's say, games like what is it?
Like okay, I understand
where it requires more skills, but then they have skins and stuff like that. Unlocking those not too big of a deal. But if you're like, if you're boosting a character and then bragging about it, they're just not going to be able to play that character very well either. So I at the end of the day, like, is it even that like?
Well, it also affects the leaderboards as well, because there is a leaderboard with Path of Exile. He's like one of the highest. He's like one of the highest level characters, and he's pretty up there in the leaderboards.
Once again,
and
just slap a freaking booster thing on.
Well,
them.
I mean, Elon Musk he's proven himself to be a fake gamer. Like, it's not that surprising when celebrities turn out to be gamers. Like, Vin Diesel is apparently a huge D&D nerd. And Henry Cavill is also like a huge PC gamer.
But they prove it. They
prove it though. And Henry Cavill, like a few years ago, like built his first PC because he's always bought like pre-builts. But he put his money where his mouth is.
He's also a Warhammer fan.
Yeah, that's like the number one nerdiest thing you can do. Play Warhammer.
Literally,
it kind of is. Yeah. He almost missed out on being Superman because he was playing games.
Yeah, he was playing
World of Warcraft.
He was playing WoW.
World of Warcraft, which. That alone is the type of cred where it's like, man, that is soul sucking. So like, I think he gets some credit. Now, I don't like to gatekeep this type of stuff. I think anyone could be a gamer. I think Elon Musk truly is a gamer. I don't think he is an elite gamer or like some special gamer like he says. I think he enjoys to sit down and play a game. But the problem is like he and this is where my thing, this type of stuff is like really silly. I never thought he was that good at most games because there's no way you can control how many companies he has and be that good at that game and still get other stuff done. I mean, no, one thing, go parent your kids. How many kids do you have? Go be a good father, you asshole. Or go like if that's how much time you're putting in the path of exile, go actually be a CEO. If you're not really being that involved with all your companies, then you're not needed. Like, then let's just, have AI replace you. Like, that's my thought on this stuff.
Yeah.
And then he goes on top of it. He thinks people need to work more. He wants people to work as much as he says, 80 hours a week. The math doesn't add up. It really is just his. I'm not going to go too much deeper, but his ketamine brain, man, is really showing that there's a lot of stuff that's not great that he is spouting, or that just doesn't add up. Let's just say that it doesn't add up. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I think I said in the Discord chat that we have that if we're going to talk about this topic, prepare for some angry comments. and I think
what angry comments? He's betrayed the gamers. The gamers are the most important demographic in his league of fans. Without them,
the gamers are buying his Teslas and stuff like that. Yeah,
his edgelords. That's his most important. So we'll see how that affects edgelords.
But like, ridiculous. I don't know, man. He doesn't need to pretend to be this elite gamer because, like,
no,
it's pathetic. It's pathetic, dude. I'm a bad gamer. Like, I'm not good at games. But I have fun with it, and that's the only thing that matters. And if you're out there and if you're the richest man in the entire world and your ego is so fragile that you need everyone to also believe that you're the best gamer, like, go away. You don't deserve attention, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but like
fuck, man.
It's ridiculous. It's so foolish.
Like, if I were the richest man in the world, I'd probably spend all my time playing video games and actually being like a good video gamer, to be honest.
Yeah. Instead of paying someone to boost your account, pay people to like censor you so that you don't look so abjectly pathetic in the public eye. For God's sakes, dude. It's so ridiculous. It boils my blood, man.
He does do some censoring. Let's not get past that.
Of himself.
Oh, he means like his like true unfiltered thoughts instead of like censoring other people.
Yeah.
I mean like keeping his real self out of the public eye because it's so pathetic. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know, like things really freaking turned around for him. Like, I actually really liked Elon Musk for the most part before the whole Twitter acquisition, before some of the other political things that happened, just because he was pushing space race and stuff like that, which I do like. I like innovation. I like progress in humanity, and I like that. And he still kind of does that, but now he's just like, everything he's doing is going to be pretty much preventing that. So it really pisses me off that he just burns so many paths.
Man, what happened to the Martian era of Elon Musk? I kind of admired his willingness. Like, I thought it was kind of silly that he wanted to go to Mars instead of fixing all of our problems here on Earth. But like, that's kind of a cool thing. Yeah, wanting to go to Mars, wanting to expand humanity past Earth.
So you can't fix humanity. You can't fix problems instantly. You usually how things work is that we work through like a multi-faceted, multi-pipeline kind of way. So like, even if he wouldn't have done anything like that, he focusing, let's say, on because that's what Bill Gates does. He focuses most of his money on stuff like helping Africa and all that. But at the end of the day, it helps, but there's other things, including human elements that have to change, and it takes time. But doing like a space race or doing like going to Mars could help technologically, that maybe would come back down. Like a lot of stuff we did to get to the moon, we really did get a lot of benefits from going to the moon.
Yeah. So much stuff. Yeah. I don't know, dude.
It's good, but I don't like it being in a private entity personally. Also, that's another thing. Sorry.
No, yeah, I agree with you on that. The thing is, I just don't. I've never. I can't say I've never liked Elon Musk, but I've never like really bought into a lot of the things he was saying, like the the Mars stuff, I was like, we're not gonna be there in 10 years. Like, there's no way we're gonna be able to get to Mars in 10 years. And that was like 15 years ago that he was saying that, you know? And like, I just feel like everything that he says is so like self-interested and like based on his own like ambition. And I don't know. I don't trust anything he says. So when he says I'm a pro gamer, it's a lie. And when he says I'm the richest man in the world, I don't believe it. Like he's extremely rich, but he probably isn't the richest man in the world. I just don't trust him. I don't trust anything this guy says. Sorry.
And when he says he's the Martian,
dude, yeah.
Have you guys seen that movie with Matt Damon?
I've seen the movie, and the book is so much better.
Yeah.
Have you read the book?
I've heard the book is better. I need to get to reading that.
I need to get to reading it. I have it, but I've listened to other books that the authors,
Andy Weir.
Yeah, Andy Weir. They're really good.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
really good.
I haven't finished Hail Mary, but
Hail Mary is so good.
Is it okay? Yeah, I started it and I didn't finish it. Yeah,
it has the voices too for the characters that that you know. Like, so yeah, I'm not going to spoil anything, but the audiobook is great. I love it.
Nice.
Speaking of which, movies. Would you guys be interested in a social media too? Like, remember how the movie about Facebook with Jesse Eisenberg as Mark Zuckerberg?
Oh yeah, that was a good movie. I enjoyed that.
They should make a sequel.
I did enjoy that. They should make a sequel and really just roast everyone.
Yeah, as long as Trent Reznor is still the guy who does the music, I'm cool with
it.
Yeah, I could see it happening.
Interesting. Have you guys ever seen Pirates of Silicon Valley?
Yes.
No.
Oh, it wasn't it like a made for TV movie or something? It's really, really, really good. I enjoyed it. I'm gonna watch it again pretty soon here.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I might have to pick that back up.
It's about Steve Jobs and or Bill Gates, I mean, and like their interactions as they were robbing each other of IP.
Have you ever read a book called The Circle?
No.
I think they made it into a movie, but it's a book about like a fictional social media where you have no real privacy. And I think this came out a little bit before like the Edward Snowden leaks. When did that happen? I'm trying to remember.
Oh my god. I don't know. 2011 or 12, something like that, maybe.
So I think it was around that time. Yeah, the book was like released around that time too. So it's pretty good. I don't remember a whole lot about it besides that the premise. I thought it was pretty interesting. Though.
So, just one last thing on the Elon Musk stuff. He thinks that we live in a simulation and that everyone else is NPCs, and he's not. If you want to talk about delusion, like, I'm sorry, I'm going hard on the hate train. I did not realize. We can always remember this if we want. If you want to talk about delusion, you think everyone else is an NPC in your world that you live. There is probably no more dangerous of a person that thinks than things like that. They're not empathetic. They have zero empathy, zero sympathy, zero anything that would reflect actually caring about others, and that is that's very off-putting for me. Very off-putting. And I feel like Mark Zuckerberg is also another one of those people where it's just like, just do something to show that you care. Like he does do stuff. He does charities and stuff, but still, like it's so off-putting sometimes when they like this timeline's very off-putting with these guys. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's called solipsism, right? Is when like my mind is the only mind that exists.
Yeah.
Like frankly, you don't get to their position of wealth and power without have some degree of solipsism. Like,
yeah,
and that's not like a political statement, and that's not like a statement on philosophy. That's just what I think is fact. It doesn't matter your politics. You don't get that wealthy without being cruel and mean.
Yeah, not everything's politics. Things can be not politics, and that's I agree with that. I don't think you can become like might be a little bit more political, but I don't think you can become. I think maybe a millionaire with and being ethical, but I don't think you can be a billionaire and being ethical in the sense of like
I'm going to be the first. I'm going to be the first ethical billionaire.
It will happen eventually when
Yeah.
with inflation,
Yeah.
because inflation will make it so. But it's just you're not paying enough people. I think if you're like paying people enough, because no one ever gets to 1 billion on their own. As much as people want to say, they never. Like
No.
let's say you start life with 100 million, it is drastically easier statistically to get to 1 billion. Like it's just, if you want to look into the data and actually the real stuff, that's what really frustrates me about this stuff is that
Do you
we can move on to something.
Yeah.
We can move on to something unless you have something more to say on this high tech. I think we have something more that I think the people might even be more upset about. But also like, do they need to be upset about this? The honey scandal that's going on. They were found to be, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but they were found to be, so Honey, so let's just read this snippet. Honey is a browser extension owned by PayPal intended to provide the best discounts by way of providing coupon codes that they scoured the internet for. Of course, it's been revealed that not only do they not provide the best coupons, but they also still influencer pay by way of overriding their affiliate cookie. Also, Linus Tech Tips apparently knew about what Honey was doing before Mega Lag's video was released, and it didn't tell anyone else. And so, yeah, I don't know if I knew about them overriding the affiliate cookie. I thought they were just overriding codes when they were inputting the stuff, but overriding a cookie, that's pretty nefarious.
They were, so like the way that affiliate links work is it's usually attributed to the last click. So what that means is like if you go to my video and you click on one of my affiliate links, then whoever the last affiliate link that was clicked is attributed to that sale, right?
Right.
And that expires after, like 30 days or something. And what Honey was doing was they were like signed up for all these affiliate programs, pretty much every one that existed. And then they would attribute their sales or any sales that you made when you had the Honey extension installed to their affiliate links rather than the affiliate links of creators that had been clicked on legitimately.
Yeah.
And it's insane. I've seen like some of my affiliate programs tick up in terms of like actual revenue and clicks because the people have been uninstalling Honey. Like it's, it's cool. I like it.
So what Honey has been doing is, they've been shaking your hand with one hand and they've been stabbing you in the back with another hand. Like you've never been like, I'm not big enough to be sponsored by Honey. Have you been sponsored by Honey before, Gardner?
They have approached me many times and I only did it once. And as soon as I did it, I regretted it because I don't know what happened exactly, but there was just something about it that felt weird. And I had signed the contract, so I couldn't remove it from my video. But I didn't like working with Honey.
So I think Legal Eagle is helming a class action lawsuit for content creators.
Yes.
So you might need to jump in on that, Gardner.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, so what Honey did, so the other part, that being that Honey doesn't give the best codes, what they would also do is they would work with shop owners, and shop owners could, choose what codes go into the Honey system.
Yes. Oh, that's what it was. Because, okay, so here's what it was. I was watching the H3 podcast after I had done my Honey sponsorship, and Ethan from the H3 podcast said that he had been talking with them and he put in a special code or something. And he was like, I don't like that, And then I was like, oh, that feels weird that he's got his merch and he's like working with Honey while they're also sponsoring. It seemed off to me. And then I didn't want to do it anymore.
Interesting. Yeah, it's okay, here's my thing, guys. Here's my thing. When you have a free product, because Honey's free, and that's where my skepticism started, but I still used it because it was the ease of use of getting the codes was easier than me just trying to scour for them, which is really frustrating. But it's Facebook, it's all this other stuff. When you don't pay for something, the company's gonna make their money somehow. Just know this. You are the product. So people need to understand that when they go into things like this. Like, how are they running their servers? How are they doing all these deals? How are they doing everything that and making money? I don't know if people really, like, some people were questionable about this. Markiplier's one he feels very vindicated on. It sounds like Gardner also is like, did it once. He's like, I understand this now. I don't know if I would have taken up anything that was honey related. I just know that, like, from the outset, how are they making money? They have to make money somewhere. And I think not everyone's going to be technical. They're not going to be in the knowing enough, maybe, or have enough technical knowledge to understand this. But which makes it dangerous. Which maybe this needs to bring with it some other regulations or something for the internet. I know people don't like regulations, but it's just, it is a little. Once I saw the overriding their affiliate cookie, I got a little bit more upset. Like, I get what you're like. It's the last click, right? And so it's pretty messed up.
So
yeah,
one thing is that,
talking about that, like,
sorry, go ahead.
In the last month, previous to the honey video dropping, I was getting like 1.25% of like my views converting to like affiliate sales through Amazon, right? And which, like, now it's 2.5% since that video dropped. It's like that feels like theft to me.
Yeah. It is. They ended up stealing, but at the end of the day, also there were, I mean, once again, who's the product? How's it all work? Like, I'm curious that no other tech people really looked into this until we found out now. And with Linus Tech Tips, like, did he know exactly how this worked, or he just knew that a part of the story?
So from what I understand, Linus's staff discovered that the whole cookie situation. I don't think he knew about the store, like, you know, them working with stores. Yeah. But they found out about it, and then they canceled their remaining their contract with the honey, more or less, and they just didn't tell anyone else, which I think is quite upsetting, because I mean, Linus is always like, so a big content creator like that really should be looking out for the fellow content creators, right? Like, not even just like the small guys. Like, I guess Gardner would technically be considered small in this case, despite, you know, him having way more subs on us. But like, even his peers, like, he didn't tell anyone that what honey was doing.
Really?
So
I find that interesting.
Yeah. Well, first off, I don't know if he was telling bigger content creators or not. But at the end of the day, he is a very focused person. I'm not going to defend Linus completely, but I do think he is a fairly ethical person.
Where are we getting this information from? Sorry,
the Mega Lag video.
The Mega Lag video. I haven't watched it.
He also talked about it too, how he knew early on in his podcast, I think 2 weeks ago. He also talks about this a little bit. So he even claims it himself, but he's going to defend himself. And I think he did a fairly decent enough job, but I can't fully remember everything he said. But we have even first-hand account of him knowing some of this beforehand.
Yeah, like MKBHD also didn't. Oh, sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, you're fine. I'll just end with, and then you guys can take off. Take it from here with the sponsorship stuff. Like, I'm sure he was a little bit afraid to also offend sponsors and to go too hard at one sponsor to then maybe scare off other sponsors. He does have like a huge team, like of over 100 people. Once you start having like responsibility over people, I don't know if you've been in a position like that, things start to get a little bit scarier when you do things, and you don't want to disrupt that, because it not only is like, if Linus lost everything, like if he lost the company, he's still a millionaire. He would still do fine, but his employees would have to then go find other places to work, and I don't know how easy that would be. So I'm a little, when it comes to all this type of stuff, even with Gamers Nexus and all this, I'm very skeptical of criticism of like very specific people. not in the sense of I want to see a lot of evidence, and I'll just kind of
Yeah, my thing, my question, I have a lot of questions about this because I haven't watched the Mega Lag video. But the thing that really, as someone who like runs a company, I'm very focused on like the things that I need to do in the day to get my shit done for the other people who rely on me.
Right.
So, and that's kind of what you were saying, James. It's like, so if his team discovered that, hey, Honey is like stealing like links or whatever, they're getting attribution for a lot more than feels right, and that if that bubbles up through the organization and like a game of telephone is being played or something, I can understand where that would slip through the cracks of someone who's running like this huge organization. There could also be like other things, I don't know, but it just feels like, and you might not even understand the full scope of it. Like maybe that was just a glitch that was happening on our website or whatever. I don't know. I'm just trying to like, it just doesn't feel right to me that like that would be how they reacted, is just to keep it to themselves. I just don't see that being the case. Maybe, and I don't really care much or hold Linus in high esteem, you know, but like from my understanding of how they run their operation, it feels like something they would have done, like called out.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting them to make a video on it or anything like that. Like, yeah, it might have been huge if they did it, but like I would have expected them at the very least to tell like their peers. Like MKBHD apparently didn't know about it until the Mega Lag video came out, and then he promptly went ahead and used like the YouTube editor to cut out all the Honey segments in his video. Which, I mean, props on MKBHD for doing that, yeah.
What is the contract on that, though? Isn't that going to be violating? So here's my thing, like, on all this. Contracts are also in play. There can be certain contracts that they go into. I don't know, Gardner obviously, did this, but sometimes when you do contracts with sponsors and some other stuff, you could have clauses where you cannot talk about certain things.
Yeah.
Could be that, too. But at the end of the day, I need more evidence. And before I'm gonna like throw someone under the bus, kind of thing. Yeah. And I like Linus enough. I don't know. He could be like a very mean person. I think he's a very like serious person at times, while also being kind of like an entertainer. But I don't think all the hate he's getting is crazy. Is my thing with all this. That's why I'm more defensive of it. It's like it's not warranted.
Right. For me, it's like there's a hate bandwagon for Linus, right? Yes. And we'll talk about the Gamers Nexus stuff in a minute, but that's very relevant to what we're talking about now too, where it's like there's so much hate for Linus for whatever reason that like people are willing to believe anything.
Yep.
And they're willing to use like little mistakes, that are justifiable for many reasons at like for ages. They'll keep these like grudges, and so I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon. But if it's true, then it's very disappointing.
Yeah, I agree with that, and it's a confirmation bias thing too. People think something, and then anything that comes around that agrees with that, it confirms and then they get more and more on the bandwagon. It's a really toxic thing of social media, and YouTube is a part of social media. So it's one of those things where I think their team does well. I think apologies could be made. Linus has addressed this multiple times in a way that felt very apparent, like transparent. But at the same time, I don't know, when do you forgive someone?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I want to clarify. I think Linus, I really do like Linus. Like, he's one of my big inspirations for being a content creator. So there's that too. But at the same time, though, I still believe Linus had a responsibility when it came to the Honey situation. And I think, and from my understanding in the Mega Lag video, he's the one that addressed the Mega Lag situation, and I guess they came to him or something like that. I don't know. It just leaves a bad taste in my mouth that Linus just wouldn't tell anyone else about it.
I agree with you. Like if it's true, what happened? Like if it's true the way I'm being told it's happened, then yes, I agree. He had a responsibility to disclose that information. But there's also like circumstances where if he didn't fully grasp what was happening, right? Like if he just thought it was a glitch on their website or whatever, right? There's lots of extenuating circumstances that I can understand. And I'm not trying to make like excuses. I'm just kind of working through it. My initial reaction here.
Well, I think people don't understand how that can, like, there's so many things that can come into play, and people want to go to the simplistic answer.
Yeah.
When things get a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think this whole situation could have been handled a little better. That's just all I'm going to say about it.
I agree.
Well, at the end of the day, hopefully the lawsuit comes around and people get paid. I think that'd be a little bit of a penance, but at the same time, you got to remember, like, don't throw the hate at Linus fully. Like, you can be disappointed, but who's the one that did it?
PayPal did. PayPal did.
PayPal. Well, okay. Here's another thing. That's another tell for me. PayPal is in a very weird trend, right? I would not, if I was anyone, do not rely on them. If you're a content creator, especially, do not rely on them to get paid unless you have to, because they will freeze accounts and you might not see that money again. And they are very ruthless about that. It makes me even a little, I use Venmo and I'm even a little bit not sure about Venmo. Venmo just hasn't done anything like that. PayPal though is a pain to work with. So
and the chargebacks are crazy, dude.
If you need to transfer money between bank accounts, Zelle is a really good way of going about that.
Yeah, I've heard good things of Zelle. But Honey, here's my thing. Content creators, stuff like that. When you're picking up sponsors, when you're picking up all this other stuff, question a company on how they make their money. That's what I don't understand with Honey. Honey, like for me, I'm like, how are they making money? How are they making money? When they're sponsoring you and paying you a bunch of money, how are they making money? And so do people not look into this stuff? Do people not, like, with some of these content creators that got money stolen? Yeah, that sucks. But do you not look into your products that you sponsor enough to see at least where their money comes from? Is a big thing for me. And you got to wise up.
That it honestly didn't even occur to me to ask that question at that time. Like, I'll be honest. But the thing is, like, it since then, when I watched the H3 podcast and I started to I was like, oh wait, what the fuck? That's when
but you got to that point, and that's fine. Yeah. Like, we all have like lapses of judgment, and that happens in this world. But like, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't have been in the same situation, but you got to question when you get into these. How do they make their money, and what's the contracts and stuff like that? You got to be careful what you sign. You got to be careful what you do. To a point, I think we got to have some forgiveness, but again, in this case, I think people deserve their money in this lawsuit. But yeah, sorry.
I kind of just assumed that they did some vague data collection and selling data on like what products people buy. I mean, like that's kind of what you expect. Yeah, and I mean, feel like that would have been like a way to make money too.
And the fact that like big creators already were doing it too, like you would think that someone in that chain had done the research, and that's where my head, instinctually, that's how I felt about it, because some of my favorite creators were doing Honey sponsorships, and even like technically savvy ones were doing it too. So I was like, oh, of course, if they're doing it, then it's probably safe. And that wasn't even a conscious thought. That was just like how I felt,
So to be fair, it is still safe. It's just, to an extent, it's just they were stealing money from content creators, which means,
right?
What's your data? What was the data harvesting? And so that does bring up the question now, along with that lawsuit. I think needs to go into data and data routes. They need to route and do an investigation into what they're doing with the data too, in my opinion.
So it's gonna sound like I'm sipping the haterade a little bit, but I hated Honey because Honey killed off all the good coupon codes.
Yeah, I could see that. I stopped using Honey after like the past year or two. Like, they were pretty good early on. I liked Honey. But yeah, I stopped using them.
So yeah,
because
man,
it just didn't feel like they did anything good.
if Honey dies and the coupon codes come back, man, that'd be so awesome.
Yeah. The weirdest thing with Honey was like, one of the things I don't know if I can say this, but I'm going to fucking say it anyway. One of the things that they wanted in their sponsorship was to, to say, oh, I went and bought this product from this website and got a coupon code, right? And saved 10% or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And they gave me links to use to websites I could go to. And then I found some deals and I was like, oh, cool. There's like $10 saved or whatever. But then after I published the video, I was like trying to use it on some other sites and none of the coupon codes worked. And I was like, what the fuck? Like it was working when I tried it before. And then I realized that it was stuff that they had fed me. And I was like, oh, I should have tried it on other sites, dude.
Hey man, let's send this footage to Mega Lag. Dude, this
I know.
podcast footage.
Gardner Bryan exposed, dude.
That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. It pains me to admit it, but it's the truth, and I wish that I had been more diligent. And that's one of the reasons that I was like, I'm done with doing sponsorships because they just suck.
See, man.
I mean,
really
there was that whole established title thing that blew up like a couple years ago too, and. Do you remember established titles?
No.
You don't. Oh, you guys didn't hear.
Familiar. It sounds familiar, but you're gonna have to refresh my memory.
So they were selling like tiny plots of land in Ireland so that you could be a lord, right?
Wait. Oh shit.
Yeah, and I did like 2 sponsorships with them, and I was like, oh, this is stupid and silly. It's like buying a star, like whatever. You don't actually own it, of course. And I figured everybody fucking knew that. And then when that blew up. And like they were like, it's a scam. I'm like, no shit. Like it's not really like you're not actually like a lord, of course, right? But then just before the whatever video exposed established titles, they contacted me and they were like, we want to buy all your ad inventory for the next 3 months, and it was like just before Christmas, and I was like, no, that seems weird, and I'm not doing that.
Come on, man, you don't want to be Lord Gardner Bryant, Lord Bryant.
Dude, they sent me one. I still have the stupid plaque. Dude, it's so dumb.
Dude, you have it? You gotta pull it up, man. I want to see Lord Bryant.
It's out there. I can go get it if you want to see it. It's so stupid.
Dude, you should get it. That'd be so awesome. James, you there? Damn, man. Lord Gardner Bryant. I don't know. That sounds like it's got a nice ring to it, Like you could be Lord James Brinkerov. Lord Brinkerov.
What are you talking? I'm already a lord. I don't think you realize I'm a German lord.
If you're such a lord, how come you don't have Lord in front of your name all the time?
It's ostentatious.
Yes, you need to be ostentatious. That's like the most lord-like quality. You need to make sure everyone knows you're a lord. Kind of like how you gotta let everyone know you're a vegan, almost.
Hey, I am vegan, and I also do CrossFit. And have you heard that have you heard I'm a lord? I'm lord of the vegan CrossFits.
Damn, bro.
That's like the ultimate.
Man. Lord of the vegan CrossFits, man. That sounds like quite the life you lead.
I would never be able to be around anyone that was like that because you know how much they would just talk about it. I couldn't do it.
Not with that attitude. So while we wait for Gardner to return, we can do some fun outtakes, or rather intakes, rather. Let's see, Lord of the man. I don't know, man. It's crazy, man. I just completely forgot about that, and then like Gardner brought it up again. It's crazy, man.
The sponsor thing is kind of like interesting because, like with sponsors, I think it's a good thing to get sponsors. You want your content creators, if they're putting a lot of time and energy into it, to get paid. You want people to have a livable wage and all that. I think it gets a little crazy once they start making, tens of millions, but whatever. And it's not bad. And you got to try to vet your sponsors, but there is a certain point to where you just can't, as long as you agree with the product, that's fine. Like I don't know if I would have promoted Honey or not, but I used Honey, so I would have potentially promoted it.
Same.
With the buying up the land stuff, I think my wife bought land for her dad, and it was fun. Like, it was just like a fun thing because it's like, what else do we buy him? He has everything. What else do you buy him? And so you just give something like that. That's just kind of like a star kind of idea where it's then fun bragging rights, even though it doesn't really mean anything. Like, if people get tricked by that, what are they expecting? That you're actually going to be like a lord or lady?
Is your wife a lord? I mean, lady?
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous. The thing, here's the weird thing is, like, when I heard established titles, it made me think of like, back when like Cards Against Humanity was like super popular, and they had a Christmas bundle. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And you would like order the Christmas bundle, and then they like bought a bunch of property here in Maine and then subdivided it into like 1-inch squares and freaking like gave those 1-inch squares to like a bunch of people, right? To like people who bought the Christmas pack. And that's what it made me think of. And I was like, oh, that's silly and foolish. And of course you don't actually own a 1-inch square of land in Maine, but it's fun.
Does that work though?
It didn't. Like, the town was like, you can't do that.
Okay, so they didn't allow it. I was like, even if they allowed it, it's like, do you then owe like $1 every year in property tax? Like,
evidently not, because you can't do it.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. If I were a lord, I would be lording that title over everyone. You would never address me as anything else but Lord Starlogical or Lord High Tech Low Life. Like,
Lord Starlogical is awesome, dude.
Like, shit, man. I'd make sure everyone knows I'm a lord, much like, how everyone knows that you're a vegan or like you're a CrossFit bro or some shit.
Or a Linux user.
Oh my gosh, we can add on to the title.
Lord
R.
Dude, oh my god. Lord CrossFit Arch Linux vegan dude.
I guarantee there's someone out there like that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Couldn't ever talk to them.
Dude.
You can never be a Linux Unix person and a CrossFit and a vegan. They can't match. Like, once someone becomes two of those, it's unsufferable.
Yeah, it's like a
unless you're a vegan, Gardner, then you'd be the exception.
Yeah, I'm not a vegan.
But he is a lord with the lord plaque somewhere in his house.
It just makes me think of edgelord, and I just like,
Yeah.
It's so funny though. So speaking of edgelords, oh wait, this transition doesn't work.
You're never gonna get invited to do an interview with him.
True that. And of course, the interview with him is Pierre-Loup.
Is it Graffi or Graffet?
I don't know. I should probably ask him in the interview.
I feel like you got the first part right. I can never say his name.
Yeah, Pierre-Loup. I've emailed with him before. He seems pretty nice.
You should ask him how to pronounce his last name.
I feel like I did, but I don't know for sure. Actually, let me check my email.
I'm just gonna say PLG, like PLG from now on.
PLG?
Not to be offensive or anything like that. It's just I don't have time.
So yeah, the story is that he did an interview in French about CES, and a lot of it has to do with SteamOS.
Is he French or French Canadian?
I believe he's French Canadian.
Yeah.
So Quebecian.
Yeah, that is a whole other thing. Yeah, so he did an interview, High Tech.
That's right. He did an interview with I believe it's Frandroid.
Yes. I said Fandroid in my video, and I got roasted for it.
Yeah, so the entire interview is in French, and I linked a machine translated version, but there are some interesting revelations as summarized by Noah from Steambook HQ, who was also a guest in here at one point. That SteamOS has been developing for over 12 years. I can believe it, and I mean it's been like a almost decade-long journey for them to finally break out of Windows entirely. And
yeah, it's been a while. It'll be interesting to see where Steam is, 10 years from now. But I'm really hoping Steam machines are the new console in the living room.
And let's see what else. Why SteamOS hasn't been released publicly yet? And I think it's what everyone here suspected. NVIDIA. That's what they said.
Yeah. No, well, they can still... here's my thing. They're going to go different routes. They want to make it publicly available to every platform, I'm assuming. They should have just released it and put pressure by releasing it on NVIDIA, in my opinion, or something. Be like, okay, well, it's AMD supported for now. Put it into beta. It could be in beta for years. Companies love doing betas. And it sounds like that's what they're going to do now anyways. Are they going to have NVIDIA support with the SteamOS beta?
I would be surprised. I don't think they've revealed that.
I think they're going to support handhelds right now is the kind of the key point. And they're even going to support an older, even though it's a new device coming out with Legion Go S, it's an older architecture most likely. And so it all tells me that they're being very cautious on releasing SteamOS to anything that be too deviant, doesn't deviate much from their current architecture.
Legally, can Valve distribute NVIDIA's proprietary drivers? Because I've heard the open source drivers aren't that good.
The open source... So in the article, he talks about how the open source drivers are the ones that they're relying on, and that's why they haven't released it yet, is because the open source drivers haven't been haven't had the same like level of development that the AMD ones have done. And the thing is, that he also said in the article that they want to be the ones who are doing the lion's share of the work on the open source drivers so that they can like react more quickly to games being released, or like being fixed by the drivers.
It makes sense.
Do the open source drivers support DLSS?
I don't know.
That's one part where I don't know if they would, but in the past, like I used to roll with open source drivers all the time because they used to be better, especially with AMD. Used to be better than the actual drivers from the source, which is really sad. These graphics card developers are really sad with their drivers. I will say that. Like, yeah,
especially on Linux.
So another major revelation. Yeah. Oh, sorry. So another major revelation is that Valve isn't after OS market share. They're not out to kill Windows outright. I mean, I'm not sure if they could realistically kill Windows, but I mean that it just affirms that they're not trying to create like a general purpose OS to replace Windows with. Which I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit last time. But yeah, if you want a general purpose Linux operating system, you can just do it right now. You don't need SteamOS.
Those exist. Yeah,
you don't. But it would be nice to have an experience that's just like really easy for a lot of people to get into and play games and do maybe some common computing. That's where I think they should shoot for.
And as for Lenovo, Lenovo apparently approached Valve for SteamOS on their devices.
Yeah,
which means it seems like it's open for. I don't want to say it's open for just anyone, but it seems like it could be open for anyone that wants it. Like I don't know, Asus, for example.
Yeah.
I think other companies have potentially reached out, or at least say they have. We've talked about that, but I'd be shocked if more haven't reached out. That's why I'm like kind of shocked that Lenovo's the first. I thought Asus would, but maybe they have such a good arrangement with Microsoft that they just don't want to hurt that. We'll see. I think this is going to be the year we're going to see a lot of interesting things come from the SteamOS release.
I also think there's an interesting quirk with the with the Asus ROG Allies, but the Ally X and the original, you can't actually hold the Steam, like with the buttons that would be the Steam buttons or the quick access menu to do like chords and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like when you hold it down, it just changes the joystick into a mouse mode, which is kind of unfortunate. Well, I mean, it works on Windows, but apparently it's a hardware level thing, and the guys for Bazite can't patch it for whatever reason. I'm not sure why.
They're gonna have to do a BIOS update, and that's gonna be fun. It's probably at the BIOS level, so yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm suspecting. Let's see what else. Valve and Lenovo share support for maintaining. So it sounds so. What does it say here? It says here that Valve takes care of different drivers, including graphics drivers. Let's see what else. The manufacturer will provide firmware and BIOS and distribute them through SteamOS.
That's an interesting one too, and I think that's a good idea. I think they really want this to be like a gaming. So, like for Steam machines, for Deckard, whatever they're going to be releasing or working with other third parties, I think this is a good indicator that like this is a very specific, targeted operating system for playing games on multiple on devices, and I think that's a good. We need that type of thing if we're going to. We just need that type of initiative from a company.
Yes. See, Valve isn't interested in inventing all the tools, so they give an example here. Pierre mentions using Input Plumber to manage a controller for the Legion OS. And I've actually spoken with some of the Bazite developers because they use a different system for that. They use, I believe it's Handheld Daemon, if I'm not mistaken, HHD referred to as, which is different because it handles not just like input, but also like TDPs and stuff like that. I'm not sure what the difference is between this and Handheld Daemon when it comes to like input parsing, but I presume I don't know, man. I feel like they could have used Handheld Daemon, but maybe like a stripped down version. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, I don't know the difference either. I haven't tried them. I haven't really had a necessity to, but I think the fact that Valve uses like open source software and they also contribute back to it is kind of like the big news. It's like the thing that separates Valve from a lot of other companies that use Linux in their day to day. You know,
I mean, they fund DXVK if I'm not mistaken, and without that, we'd probably still be in the Stone Ages. I think I've said this before too. Exact quote.
Yeah, they fund DXVK, but they also fund VKD3D. They fund the development of Proton through like they hire code weavers to like work on specific patches for wine, like and they're like handling a bunch of development for Arch Linux like package management. Like they're doing all kinds of stuff to support all kinds of open source projects. I believe they're even paying KDE to do stuff for them. So
they pay,
like
just to put this into perspective, they pay over 100 people, 100 I'd say maybe freelancers or open source developers to improve a lot of the open source software that makes up SteamOS. So which is really important actually. And it goes to show, like, this should be more of a way that companies should do things. Like, open source, if you're going to be, like, a lot of companies use open source and don't actually give back to it, and big companies. And some of them do, though. And that's how it's a kind of a collective thing. It's stop with this, I own the IP, and let's collectively build certain things up. And it's one of the things I do like that Valve's doing. They mentioned that they pay over 100, like, a few years ago. I'm curious if that's even more now or what, but yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, and here's something interesting to you guys. Steam machines aren't a priority, but the door is open. So, since Lenovo unveiled that they have the first official SteamOS machine, I've been wondering if someone's going to make like a set-top box and it's going to be powered by SteamOS, like an official capacity instead of like Bazite or whatever. And they say that there isn't a priority for it, but they are willing to make a return, and we don't know for certain if they mean it internally, like with the Valve Fremont, or in collaboration with manufacturers. And, you know, they have the picture of the old, like, Alienware Steam machine here in the article. You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's what Acer
The Alpha,
like now, isn't it? Is it Acer? I'm thinking
Acer.
Acer's new handheld that we talked about last week. I swear.
Oh, the Blaze. The Nitro Blaze or some shit like that. Yeah,
it looks like kind of like it,
like the angular design.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really big on that, but I would be down for another one of these like Alienware machines. Maybe a little bigger to have more like. Well, how long has it been since this came out? Like probably over a decade, right?
The Alienware UFO.
The Alpha.
The Alienware
came out
Alpha.
in 2012 or 2013.
That is over a decade.
Wait,
Damn.
I gotta look it up now.
I don't think
I'm so bad at dates.
I am too, and I've looked this up semi recently. I think it was like. I swear it was like 2018 or
no, it was before I started my channel.
Is the Alienware UFO?
The Alienware UFO.
This is
The
what I'm
UFO.
talking about.
Yeah,
That's what I'm talking about. What are you guys talking about? Maybe I
the Alienware Steam machine.
Oh,
Like-
yeah, you guys are right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking completely. Don't mind me.
Yeah. I started my channel when Valve, like just after Valve announced the Steam machines, and then the Steam machines launched like a year after I started my channel. So I think it was like 2015 now, that if I'm doing the math right.
Yeah. And then there's one more thing too. Valve on anti-cheat issues with SteamOS. So, yes,
Yeah.
anti-cheat has been a consistent issue with SteamOS. A lot of developers say that cheaters just go to Linux to cheat, and that's why they block access. Like, remember Apex Legends?
Yeah, which is a little baloney.
Yeah, they launched with support for SteamOS, but then all of a sudden, now they're saying now they've changed. I don't know, man. It's a money thing. We've talked about this. Marvel Rivals currently supports SteamOS, but it's only a matter of time until we don't know if they'll continue to support it. It's not like Windows where they're guaranteed to support it, even if there's like a million cheaters on Windows.
They have to, or they lose their whole product. No, it's a market share partially. Like if you're gonna be, because you're gonna probably have to do custom code for each platform because they just handle security and they handle systems differently. And so they didn't probably they saw probably an uptick of maybe cheaters going over to that platform over a certain period because they could maybe utilize certain hacks a little bit easier because and these companies are probably not addressing them on Linux before as much because it's just how much money do you put towards a platform that doesn't have many people, so they probably just partly backed off because of that. I think this is a multifaceted issue. But I really wish I'd see like Valve or someone really get into the anti-cheat world and really provide something that's a better option to then sell these companies to use as their anti-cheat that's not root level. I think that could be one way Valve does it, is by maybe hiring some open source developers to create something that's more open source. Because like anti-cheats are important if you're playing multiplayer games. It's just, it's expensive, and how much money do you put into it? Usually these companies are kind of cheap about it.
I don't know, man. It's a crazy time. And Valve does make an anti-cheat. If you remember, they
do
Valve anti-cheat, and
but they don't
kind of has a not great reputation.
Yeah, you have to always be working on anti-cheats. And so it sucks, but you got to. And that's why there's companies out there that like Easy Anti-Cheat and stuff. Is Easy Anti-Cheat actually a company, or is it Epic?
It's owned by Epic.
It's owned by Epic now.
Okay,
it used to be its own company.
That's right. And so they do a lot of initial work, but it's never perfect. And so I don't know about this, but they in order to play multiplayer games, like no one wants to have cheaters. It sucks. It makes it so that I don't want to play a game. If a game is like Team Fortress 2, great example. Like it overran with cheaters, and then Valve didn't address it for years. So I don't know. I think that's a huge stopgap for SteamOS adoption. Is the anti-cheat thing, and Valve I know is working on it, but I'm curious if they're taking the right angles on this.
So one thing that he said in the article was that, and I thought this was kind of interesting that he would say it. He said, multiplayer games aren't great on a handheld anyway.
That's true, but I can always hook up a mouse and keyboard when I'm traveling to my Steam Deck, and I don't want limitations like that. So I don't like I agree, but I don't like the limitations that brings. And people play with a controller all the time anyways. Like once we have more powerful hardware, this is going to be a very important topic. Like Fortnite should run fine on the Steam Deck. People play it on Xbox and everything else. Maybe you could limit it to...
And the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like maybe you could limit it to other people that have Steam Decks or controllers, and you could do it that way, but... Yeah.
I mean, I think the biggest thing when it comes to anti-cheat is having a bigger market share of people playing on SteamOS. And so having something like the Legion Go S, right? That's a big step towards getting enough players to have developers support it and do the constant maintenance that you're talking about, James. Like, we just need more Linux gamers to be playing these games or at least be expressing interest in it. And then to have the numbers back it up.
Yeah, I think unless they start supporting Linux more, I don't think you're going to get those numbers that are from a multiplayer standpoint. I think it anytime soon, meaning we're going to get there once Steam Decks and Steam Deck 2 and all these like become so mainstream that they're going to have to address it. It just sucks because that's going to be a lot longer period than if they just started addressing it now. And I think more people would adopt, because one of my biggest questions I get all the time from new people that really don't understand the sphere is, can I play Fortnite, or can I play this, or I would get this device, or I wouldn't run Windows if it would support multiplayer more. And so that's a huge one. And this is anecdotal, but this is one I get a lot in my comments.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. In my comments, I see a lot of people demanding that Valve somehow force and mandate developers to enable Steam Deck support, or choose not be on Steam at all. But like, I know Valve wouldn't want to piss off all of those developers.
What's the benefit?
How would they even do that? There's like literally no mechanism for them to do that.
Yeah, like if they use a custom like anti-cheat issue. Well, their main mechanism is support Steam Deck or don't be on Steam at all, and like that's definitely a monopolistic play that Valve would never take.
They wouldn't do it. They could do it. Like, there's multiple things they could do to force hands, but it doesn't make sense, and it's just you're not gonna get what you want from that. It's gonna be very off-putting.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah. Let's be frank. A lot of people say that Valve has all the power, and for the most part, they kind of do. But at the same time, though, they also have to appease the developers as well, the publishers. Otherwise, they like, imagine if all the big major AAA publishers moved to Epic. That'd be a pretty big blow to Steam, wouldn't it?
It'd be a pretty big blow to those AAA developers.
Yeah, true.
It could hurt. Well, it's not like they're not making their own launchers and stuff and already doing that to themselves. They'd probably do better by moving to Epic. If they had a full, like if all of them went to Epic, it would be a little bit of a blow, but I think in the end they'd fare okay. Personally, that's just my opinion. But yeah, if Valve did force hands like that, it would just force these companies to go back to making more and more of their own launchers, which is just already out of control.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's better to just to play nice, to do probably more passive aggressive, like this works best on Steam Deck, or this does not work. Like be a little bit more passive aggressive, but don't force anything. I'd probably say call them out, but not in like the meanest way possible, or prevent stuff.
So it was a very illuminating like interview, I think.
Yeah.
I think Valve's going places this year. Going to more places this year.
I think they've been building up to it. I'll be interested to see if they have a Steam Deck 2 announcement this year or not. It'll be interesting.
There won't be a Steam Deck 2 this year.
I'm not saying there's going to be one this year. I'm just saying an announcement for a year from now.
An announcement. Yeah, maybe.
My thing is, they could. I know that there was leaks that the current generation that's coming out this year was going to be the next architecture for the Steam Deck 2, but that, once again, those are leaks. Those are just like leaks/assumptions. So I think
that we won't see a Steam Deck 2 until late 2026.
Yeah,
at the earliest,
like a release or an announcement.
Maybe an announcement even. Like I just don't. I think Valve is going to stay true to their word and not release something new until there's like an actual like hardware that is a generational leap from what we have now with the Steam Deck.
Yeah, I gotcha.
The Steam Deck is already a little underpowered, and so
see, I hear that all the time, and I just don't.
For what I do, I think Steam Deck's a great option if you have another console or PC. It is not going to be a replacement. But these new handhelds that are coming out this year could be replacements because they could play about everything. That's my problem with the Steam Deck fully. Like people that have Switches, they try to play as much as they can on the Switch. Great, but they still miss out on, let's say, there's just certain games that just don't play on, like, let's say the Steam Deck or the Switch, because they're just the hardware's just a little too old. And so Steam Deck 2 would benefit coming out this year alone because most of the games would become playable, which would be a benefit to me. But a lot of people mostly like can do a lot, like you guys, I think, do a lot of indie, and it doesn't matter as much. Some of my indie games are a little bit more like FPS and more graphical intensive, and I don't even care to play them on high. Obviously, I just want to play them on the Steam Deck on the go, and I can't. So I'm hoping that they don't do like a generational leap that's in like 4 years from now. I'm hoping that they do it in the next year or two of an announcement, so that at least we get something sooner. And I think it'd be a good enough generational leap. I mean, I think they could easily in the next year or two eke out almost a double performance from what the Steam Deck 2 is on our Steam Deck 1 is on some games. I'm not going to say every game.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I could play most of the games that I care about playing on an Intel Iris HD graphics chip. So, so you're right about that.
Yeah, I have I have a bunch of games. I have a bunch of games that I like to play, and some of them I just can't play on the Steam Deck, unfortunately. So it makes it so I have to use my Windows PC right now.
Yeah, I mean, one day we'll get the Steam Deck 2. It'll be glorious. It'll emulate Switch 2 games.
Yep.
That's a whole other.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
That'll be for when the Switch 2 actually releases. So can't emulate something that doesn't exist yet.
Dude, I want day one Switch 2 emulation.
That would be so funny.
It couldn't happen to a nicer company.
Do you think it would? Do you think that we're gonna get a Switch 2 emulator?
Oh yeah.
Damn. So
I think Nintendo is so scared of Yuzu and the other ones because like they've tried running their software for like Switch 2 games on Switch 1 emulators, and it almost works. Like, I bet you that's why they're so scared. Because it's probably so similar.
It's so similar.
Like,
they don't have to change the architecture.
So there's a lot of other topics that we have on here that, how do you guys feel about these? So how about this one right here? The stupid Sony patent.
So Sony patent improves input lag by using AI to predict what buttons to press. Is gonna be useful for online, like if you're doing an online what is it, like GeForce Now kind of game, that could be helpful because latency is a thing. But I think let's work on our inputs and on Bluetooth and other stuff before we start doing predictive.
Yeah, because
well, the thing is with this is it's like how much of this is AI and how much of it is just like a well-written algorithm that figures out what you're gonna press next, right?
Yeah,
like,
and
that's a good point.
And I don't think it's gonna be that useful, given that a lot of the high-level gamers that really care about like input lag and stuff want exact, like, they have like frame perfect timing. I would imagine like AI something like that would like fuck up their frame perfect timing. It would piss them off even more than input lag.
Yeah,
I think it leaves room for too much error, and it's only really useful for cloud-based games that are rendered in the cloud
on the server side or something. Like you it just doesn't make sense on the client side.
And all right, so there's that. There's also 19,000 games that came to Steam, and 80% of them had no players. Likely because Blotcho came out that year. Likely because Blotcho came out in 2024.
So, yeah, we have so many games, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really hard because I'm working on a game myself right now. Gardner's working on games. It's hard to release a game when there's so much competition.
Yeah, I released a game last year, and it was one of the ones that had 0 players.
That's not true.
Comparatively. Yes, there were people who played it, people who bought it, but like comparatively to like the Balatro and shit, like nobody played my game.
Should have made Balatro, dude.
I know.
Here's the thing. We have a diverse the gamers are diverse. There's a lot of different types of gamers. I think a part of this goes into also what kind of quality of games are you making? Are some of them, I'm sure, are hobbyists. Like they're just having fun. I'm sure they'd love it if someone played it, but they were having fun. They released to release, or maybe it's their first game releasing. But like marketing is just as important of a skill as actually developing the game. It sucks if you're going to be a solo developer. If you're going to have multiple people in your team, you got to have someone that at least knows some marketing, and that is getting the game into, let's say, content creators. If you're not big enough, maybe get them into like smaller streams. Like there's ways to do it to get some eyeballs on your game, and as long as there's a unique enough stuff in it, you can get players. So part of this tells me that I just don't think people understand marketing. Another part is I think there's a lot of crap games that come to Steam.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like, I mean, Steam also has a lot of tools that developers can use to market their game, so to speak. One of which, of course, is our favorite, and it's coming up next month, the Steam Deck Next Fest. And Gardner, thoughts about putting a demo for your game on Steam Next Fest for a chess mess, I believe it is?
I hadn't considered it, but it's a good idea. I should definitely.
You should do it.
Yeah, do it.
Okay. Can you guys help me? Like, I don't really know what to do with Next Fest.
No, the video needs to be like kick-ass chess. Do you like chess, but in a mess? I don't know.
That's not bad.
But
I like that.
Honestly, at the end of we could help. I'm sure anyone that's listening could help too. But at the
I mean, shit, man, I'll cover it on the.
It's a demo, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Give them
how would I make the game like a demo? Like time limited or something?
I guess like you make a special. You do like a special demo seed that only has like a certain amount of levels.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can do that.
I don't know, man.
Only be able to run one seed might be a good way to do it.
Yeah, or maybe like build around a subset of seeds. That way, it still has that random generation. Because, like, imagine, I don't know how I'd feel about playing a roguelike where you only get access to one seed. Like, that kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it? I mean, I know it's a demo, but like Balatro,
it's a demo, though.
I know, but like Balatro's demo still has random. It's not based around one seed. Like back when Balatro had a Next Fest demo, if you guys recall.
Yeah. I mean, like a time attack or something would be kind of cool. Anyway, we can talk about that later.
And then, speaking of what we talked about Linus earlier. Guess what Linus was on? Jimmy Fallon's. He was on Jimmy Fallon. He was on Real TV, and he showed off a bunch of cool stuff, like a Lenovo laptop that it like expands vertically and uses rollable OLED technology, which sounds really cool. They also had some Camello Aura glasses, which are essentially sunglasses, but they have electrochromic dimming, but in different colors. And he had an ROG Ally X paired with X-Real 1 Pro glasses. And he showed Jimmy Fallon, who's probably... I don't want to say he doesn't know anything about technology, but he probably doesn't know anything about technology. Not the same way. And he also
he's reacting, yeah.
And then Linus also had to explain what a waifu was to Jimmy Fallon, which is
cringe, dude.
I never expected Linus would be the one to explain it. I would have thought that, like, I don't know, Ariana Grande would have done it because apparently, oh my god! So it turns out Ariana Grande might be like a huge like weeaboo, so to speak.
Oh yeah,
because she had to explain to Jimmy Fallon what Zettai Ryoiki is. It's like,
I don't know what that is.
Oh, so it's like thigh high, like aesthetics.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Wait, who's the other guy in the thumbnail there?
Bad Bunny. I think it was like.
Who is that?
He's
like a musician.
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know.
Yeah, so
sorry.
Yeah, and then Gardner, what's this about? Meta blocking pixel fed links.
Well, it seems like, Meta is, despite the fact that they have like Threads, which is like Fediverse enabled, and all the praise that they're giving to the Fediverse, it seems like they actually think it's kind of a threat, right? Like they're blocking links to PixelFed and they're calling it spam. And PixelFed, if you're not familiar, is like is like Instagram, but it's on the Fediverse.
Oh.
So. Yeah, so this is really interesting because Meta are a bunch of like conniving losers.
So like Instagram, but like on the Fediverse. That sounds kind of interesting, though.
Yeah,
I think a lot of the confusion with the Fediverse has to do with finding a server, too.
Yes, the Fediverse is confusing, but I think like when you can build a mental model of it in your head, you can start to understand it. Because essentially,
that doesn't work for the average person. They don't.
Oh, I know.
They don't build mental models. But I agree. I think it's getting better. Like I was just looking at the website. It looks great, but I definitely think I'm even tempted to now get into this Fediverse like marketing kind of side of things. I might get my hands wet once I get done with my website, to maybe get into the Fediverse and create some like stuff for it.
The Fediverse is wild and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like people actually see the things that you post and they react to it in a genuine way, and it's so, dude, it's just so much better. Like and so like the cool thing about
is it
the Fediverse
considered like a decentralized network kind of thing, or decentralized?
You can think of it as decentralized, but like federated is a better term for it, because like you can host your own server, and you have your account on your server, but like your server interacts with others rather than having it. So it's not quite decentralized, but it's laid out more like the way the United States works, right? Where like the network is the federal government, but then all of the different like instances are the states, and they interact with each other through the federal government. So it works kind of like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't really use Instagram myself, but it is interesting though. The pixel fed.
I like this because I use Instagram. Like I think we talked about earlier. I don't know if it was on the podcast, but I use it, and I would definitely like a replacement because I am getting fed up with Meta and a lot of their stuff. And do you know if the Fediverse has like community notes and stuff like that? Because I think that's a bare minimum important.
I haven't seen community notes. That would probably be an instance specific, or not an instance specific thing, but like a app specific thing. Because the thing is with the Fediverse is like if you have a Mastodon account, you can follow someone on PixelFed, right? And you can interact with their posts in your Mastodon timeline using your Mastodon account. And it's the same with any other like Fediverse enabled service.
So what's the benefit of having the different apps? Like you just have different layouts or somewhat different metadata?
Yeah, so like different apps like behave differently. So Mastodon behaves like Twitter, and PixelFed behaves like Instagram, and PeerTube behaves like YouTube. So they're just different experiences, and each application offers like certain bells and whistles on top of like the federated protocol. So on Mastodon, you can like retweet stuff with like special considerations for retweeting.
Data all live? The data is decentralized, right? Like it's split up amongst multiple servers, correct?
Yeah. So not to get too deep into technicalities, but like
honestly, we might have to do a whole podcast special on this because I'm really interested. I'd love to sell it. I was big into crypto, but for the decentralized portion of it, like I have a little bit of a sour taste of crypto now, but I really like this idea.
Yeah, crypto was a lot cooler when we weren't trying to invest into it, and they were doing like under the table transactions, like what was it, like 50,000 bitcoins for like a pizza back in the day.
Yeah.
We could totally get into that some other time because it's fascinating, and I worked in the industry for a few years.
Yeah. To answer your question though, James, real quick, the data on the Fediverse lives on any interested server. Okay. So like, what would happen is if you're on mastodon.online and I'm on mastodon.social and I tweet something at you, then my server has the tweet and your server does too. And then when we interact with the posts, then what happens is any interested parties get notified through an inbox and an outbox. That's all handled. It's like abstracted away from the users. So the protocol handles that and the instances that are involved. So anyone who follows me, their instance would also see my tweet to you, and that data would live on theirs as well. Okay. So it has to spread the data out among many servers.
So the source is where you signed up, like your main application you signed up. And then it gets propagated out to other applications that are watching it. I'm assuming that are synced up to the Fediverse. The Fediverse is like the protocol to do all that. It seems like a lot of data duplication, which can get very expensive, but it's interesting.
There is a lot of data duplication. But it's not like if we're on two different servers, your server doesn't just completely subscribe to my server. What happens is, like, if I interact with a post on your server, then you get notified of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you so if I see your content, how do I see it? Does it have to pull from multiple sources every time I pull up my app, or?
No, so when I interact with your post, my server tells your server that I did that, and then it lives on your server's database. I
see your stuff because I'm following you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to dig down into the algorithm for that, because it's honestly very it seems very complicated and prone to a lot of technical issues that it seems like it's working fine. So I'm really curious how they solved it.
It's a W3C standard, so it's like actually really good. Yeah. Like, it's rock solid.
I believe it too.
Yeah. And I think the last story that we were going to talk about is the FTC blocks Genshin Impact developer MiHoYo, or HoYoverse, or I guess Cognisphere. There's a lot of different names for it, from selling loot boxes to teenagers under 16 without parental consent, and also a $20 million fine. So I find it interesting that the FTC filed this to these guys instead of, I don't know, EA.
So we need a law around this. So this might be the start of it. This is interesting. And maybe this is the biggest impact that they saw, is maybe going this route, or maybe because Genshin Impact, is that Korean or is it Chinese?
It's Chinese, but they established an arm in Singapore that publishes internationally.
Okay. Yeah.
So I think it might be Chinese, but yeah.
I'm wondering if there's a little bit of like some Asian bias going on in there too, because there's a lot of other loot boxes that they should be attacking also, systems. But at the end of the day, I think this is a good step forward. I'm curious what the new administration is going to do, though, and if they're going to revert this or go harder, because I think there's a lot of, bipartisan wise, I think there's a lot of bipartisan support for this type of thing of preventing loot boxes, and in a way, some type of in a minor form of gambling to teenagers and to people that are very susceptible to that type of feedback loop that I think is dangerous, that we've talked about multiple times on this podcast. But yeah, I like it.
So here's what they had to say about it. Genshin Impact deceived children, teens, and other players into spending hundreds of dollars on prizes they stood little chance of winning. Companies that deploy these dark pattern tactics will be held accountable if they deceive players, particularly kids and teens, about the true costs of in-game transactions. Let's see what else. They also said that the complaint further charged that HoYoverse deceived players about the odds of winning sought-after 5-star loot box prizes and how much it would cost to open loot boxes to win the prizes. So as someone that's played a little bit of Genshin Impact, I will tell you, and gacha games in general, I will tell you, the MiHoYo games are freaking strict when it comes to getting good units. The rates are insanely low. And then, but then also that's just, and it sounds like general, it kind of just sounds like general gacha gaming, because I mean it kind of is, but some games are a lot more friendly to new players, to free to play players, I should say. But of course, you also hear stories about how some guy in Japan spent like $40,000 on on trying to get a single character in Fate Grand Order. So there's that as well. So basically, it's a matter of them not disclosing exact like percentages, from what I understand.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, Gardner. Like, with the, because it looks like you're the one that submitted this. I'm curious, like, did you?
I don't think I did.
I did. I just forgot.
I was gonna say, I'm like,
Yeah.
You must have some good stuff on this.
No, I mean, my thoughts on this are pretty much the same as when we talked about loot boxes before, but it's like, you know, if there's Asian bias here, like when you take the oath of office in the United States, it says you are supposed to protect the Constitution and the laws of the country from enemies both foreign and domestic, right?
Yeah.
And loot boxes are an enemy of, in my opinion, like they are an enemy of like a healthy mind. And I think like it doesn't matter who's doing it, it needs to be curtailed as much as is reasonable and moral. So I don't know, dude, like there, if it's racism or nationalism or whatever, it's bullshit. It just needs to be
Universal.
taken seriously no matter who does it. Yeah.
Like EA, for example, has been selling loot boxes to kids 3 and up. I mean, dude, shit, man.
I mean, even CS:GO, guys, like it's or not CS:GO, but CS2 now. Mm-hmm. It's like Valve has I don't call them out enough for kind of leading the way in these kinds of like economies of gambling. It's bullshit, and it should be curtailed. I mean, I think, like I said,
I mean, I think the difference here is that like CS2 is rated M for mature. So like the idea is that you're not supposed to be playing these games if you're not already like basically an adult. Whereas like Genshin Impact is like rated T for teens, like 13 and up, and EA, you know, FC, whatever the fuck it is this year, is rated like E for everyone, or 3 and up, I guess. I don't know.
That's true. You know, but also like who pays attention to ratings? Like I don't. When I was a kid, I wasn't supposed to watch rated R movies, but I did anyway.
Yeah,
you know.
I was gonna say it really depends on the parents and some other stuff, but at the end of the day, there still needs to be better regulation on this stuff, and there needs to be fair regulation in the sense of FTC just attacking one game company. It's either because they're outrageous, it's like it is bad, or they're gearing up to maybe do more, and they're just starting with the worst offenders. But I'm curious if this is a law that needs to be put in place higher up, and they're also just starting. I don't know. Like, I think it's good to get this type of for people to have the understanding with the loot boxes. I don't think loot boxes are inherently bad in the sense of like they're fun if they're not paid. Like if I unlock some boxes and I can get some loot from it, it's fun. There's games that do that, but if that's the whole economy, that's how you can get good stuff, is not by earning it, but by spending it, then I think we need to get kind of out of this, and it should be labeled a little bit more into the gambling.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like unpaid loot boxes are almost worse, in my opinion. Like,
really?
I mean, yeah, because they're designed to be addictive, and even if you're just wasting someone's time, like it's still, you know, if you're doing it through like hiring professional psychologists to make the animations and the sound effects deliver that dopamine hit that keeps you playing, even if it's free, I think it's just bad.
Okay,
it's dark patterns is what they call it, and it's just not cool. Okay, in my opinion.
I think you've convinced me completely. Sorry, just really quick. You've convinced me completely. What I think I get confused or kind of get mixed up is unlockables. I want unlockables where you have to play a game a certain amount of time, and then you know you can unlock that character, or you unlock certain extra skins and stuff. I like that because it is on face value of what you need to do to obtain it. That is the fun of games, is unlockables, and makes them a repetitive game or a game have a lot more lifespan and replayability. But I agree. I'm 100% against loot boxes now.
I do have something to say though. What measure is an unpaid loot box? Because I understand like in most conventional senses, it's like, oh, you level up, you get a free Overwatch loot box, right? But like, could you also not consider like a treasure chest in Diablo an unpaid loot box as well? Since
I feel like
a lot of the same principles apply there.
Well, I feel like a loot box is something that is separate from core gameplay, and it's something that like will take up the entire screen and present you with like a shower of coins or some kind of animation that like really pushes it in your face, and it's designed to be addictive, right? Like that, I would say that so like opening a treasure chest in Zelda is completely different, or like I haven't played Diablo, so I don't know, but like the discovering things in the game organically makes sense, and even having like a little cutscene and something that plays is fine, right? Like especially because there is something to be said about the reward of hard-earned gameplay, right? But and it's totally acceptable, but like when you hire a team of psychologists to make these things like suck your time, it's not okay.
Yeah, that is true, because I was going to mention Vampire Survivors does that exact same thing of taking up the screen.
Yeah, but that's also like that's a core part of the gameplay. It's not separate where you have to like click on the thing to like enable to open the box. You know, it's like I don't know. I feel like there's a clear distinction that can be made. And to be fair,
almost every loot box you're talking about, Gardner, it can be paid for. Very rarely nowadays are they just given away to unlock stuff. But yeah, like the drop rates. I think honestly, I think if you want to be more ethical on this, if we want to just kind of add some more divider lines on this, Diablo and stuff like that, I think they need to start publishing with the game drop rates. They need to start having like how much time you're going to waste to put in to get stuff, and be more upfront and be more ethical about that. Same thing with loot boxes. I think you got to have drop rates.
It would make sense to have something like the nutritional facts, or like they have on food, or like the where was I was like looking at getting a new cell phone service, and they had like a nutritional facts thing, but about the fees and everything and the bandwidth and stuff that you'll use.
How some of the materials may cause cancer or some shit like that in California.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know, but no, I mean there has to be like disclosure, and there has to be regulatory force that ensures that disclosure is truthful, and there needs to be some limitations on what kinds of like loot boxes are allowed to be put out there. And it should be age gated for sure.
Yep, I agree with it. If we're going to age gate gambling where people lose their they lose their lives in it, anything where people essentially succumb and lose their lives into something, we need to start age gating and educating more. And unfortunately, there's a lot of that happening in games. Even though games are very beneficial, they're great, we do have a lot of people that's just what they end up doing, and it's devastating. So yeah.
I mean, that's basically it. Like, I just hope that they take action against other loot boxes as well, if they're going to take action against MiHoYo, because, I mean, it'd be kind of unfair if they did it because Mud China, because that's what they did with TikTok, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely very weird that they're more worried about an adversary that's outside than the adversaries that are inside of the country right now, even though I don't want to get into politics. They are worried about certain ones, but not the stuff that's actually going to be affecting your day to day, which is stuff potentially like this or other social media accounts, or whatever. Like there's a lot to all this, and so, but TikTok, yeah, it is to go back to that. It is an interesting conundrum that we're kind of in with all our technology and games and where we're going. I'm kind of curious to see where we're going to go in this.
Yep. Same. If you're going to ban TikTok, ban Facebook too. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, man. This has been a long episode. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't tell because my timer restarted after I reconnected. Okay, so we can wrap this up. I think at the end of the day, we found that gaming bad, social bad,
Gaming
Fediverse
bad.
Fediverse good. Okay, if we can
Yeah.
simplify this down, no. Even though Fediverse is social media, at least it's more ethical. So at the end of the day, we could always improve our lives, improve systems and stuff like that, and I'm here for that. It's part of the fun. Like having a really fun, intuitive new game or hardware is great. I love it. And so with that, we have stuff we can spend our money better on and stuff like that, I guess, to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I'll stop. I'll get off my soapbox and we can end this. Any closing thoughts, guys?
This was a great episode. I'm really glad we were able to get this done today.
Yeah, there was a lot of crazy stories developing this week, and
Yeah.
especially with the Switch 2 too. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Switch 2 was talk about a lot of stuff we could talk about in a 2-minute video.
Yeah, we could have talked about the leaked specs, but those were leaks for a reason. Probably should wait until.
Nah, they're fun to talk about. You just got to put.
Yeah. Speaking of which, there's a direct in April of the 2nd. It's a Nintendo Direct. Should we stream that?
Yeah. Why not?
Actually, it depends on the time. To be honest, we'll see.
Will they hit us with a DFCA?
Yes, they will.
Come on, man, it's Nintendo. Don't ask stupid questions.
Nintendo and Apple will do that. I know that from first-hand experience. So yeah, or at least a takedown. They'll take down the stream at bare minimum. Okay, so with that, we can maybe talk about some more speculation in next week's off this Switch episode. That's what it feels like it's going to be maybe this year, because we're going to talk a lot about the Switch. But honestly, I am curious about some of those speculations next week, so hopefully we cover that. With that, thanks everyone for joining us on YouTube, on whatever podcasting device you're on, Fediverse. Comment below what you're using. We'd love to see the feedback. Even we need to start responding better, but that's I read all the comments, so keep it up, guys. And thank you guys for watching and listening and just helping us grow this amazing thing. So let's close this out. Another great episode. Peace out, guys.
All right, have a good day.
Bye.
Later.